What up, guys? This is Ron Sara. Hope you guys are well. I don't know who's watching this right now, but let's go. What's up? What's up? What's up, Ninja?
Yo, what is up?
How are you,
We
sir?
live? Oh shit, we're live.
We are live.
Oh man, I
Kamusta
don't
sa
know.
mga tao dyan? What's up, y'all? Say hi to the folks out there in Kumu land, Ninja.
What's up, everybody? How you guys doing?
There we go.
I am. I don't know. I'm weirdly sleepy right now,
Is it
and it's
the?
only 9:40. It's probably the
Is,
heat.
I was gonna say, is it the heat? What's
Yeah,
up
I
to?
think it's the heat. It makes
What's
me
up?
kind of not want to do anything.
Got you. What's up to Nene? What's up to Leia? What's up to Flores? I was gonna say I was supposed to do some housework today too, and I did a little bit. But if you're in a garage that can't be opened,
Oh
it's
my
already
god.
hot already.
Yeah.
And not only that, it's like packed to the walls with stuff. So
Mhm. Yeah.
Ninja, I'm back now in San Jose.
Mhm.
I lived in Elk Grove, Sacramento for about a year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I am back home. What's up, Vermar? ¿Cómo está? How are you? Welcome to Kumu, everybody. But yeah, I was oh, first of all, this is episode 154 of the longest running episodic podcast ever, the Hub 408. My name is Ron Sara. That's Ninja Iceberg right there. We are your hosts tonight. Please like and share, subscribe to us, all that fun stuff. We hope you guys are doing good. Again, kumusta sa lahat ng mga tao dyan? Welcome to Kumu. Hi, kumusta? Again, this is the longest running episodic podcast on Kumu. We're on episode 154. Ninja, what do you think about that?
I honestly unbelievable. Every single time I look at the episode numbers, it's kind of shocking that we're still around doing this.
For the love, I think me and you are, how do you say this? We First of all, we enjoy each other's company. We are friends, but just because we're friends and all that stuff doesn't mean we have to podcast. But I think
Yeah.
me and you genuinely like having our own podcast, right? We
Hmm.
love
Yeah.
being able to, as we call it, lay
Chit
some shit
chatting and all
down,
that.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
talk shop.
Hmm.
So
Sure.
yeah, episode 154. I titled it Homecoming because I am home.
Hmm.
Um, but
Okay. That makes sense.
yeah, but we haven't been on in 2 weeks. We haven't been on, right? Yeah.
Yeah. We missed last week.
Uh, I've uh, I've gone through a lot of changes. First of all, shout out to my cousin Marjorie, who's a big fan of the Hub. It's her birthday today. You know what I mean? So shout out to Marjorie. I love you. Um, it's so funny when I was having my baptism. She saw Steve. Shout out to Steve, and she was like, "Hey, I miss you on the Hub." You know what I mean? And then I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, that's kind of sweet, Marjorie." And she's like, "Dude," she's like, "You don't even know. She's like, I'm a Hub fan from the SoundCloud days." And I was like, "Oh yeah, you're right." I was like, "You're actually right." Yeah. And she's like, "No," she goes, "I usually listen to you guys while I'm at work." She was like,
uh, yeah.
and how many times have we done that ourselves? Nah, we listen to other podcasters
Hmm.
or a podcast while we're doing some work. So
Hmm.
shout out to
Yep.
her.
Yep.
Something unfortunate too, as my baptism was going on, actually, Marjorie lost her father. You know what I mean? My Uncle Mar,
Mm.
rest in peace. I love you. But while that was going on, my uncle passed away. So it's been a hard couple of weeks. As soon as I got here, I had to tend to the baptism, but literally while that was going on, some family stuff came up. So these
Yeah.
These past days we had to be with Marjorie's family, and I'm glad because even though it was pretty unfortunate, what happened. I literally saw my family for like 9 days straight. You know what I mean? And each night we brought a dish, so it was almost like having a potluck for like 9 days. Um, you know, with traditions, um, being held in place and all that other stuff. So yeah, even though I'm sad about what's going on, I think about my uncle all the time. We have his funeral at the end of the month, and that's something that Ninja. I haven't lost a relative super duper close to me, like a first cousin's uncle, like that. I've had friends. We've had friends that might have lost their parents too, which is unfortunate too. But this is something that just
Yeah.
kind of hit me directly, and I would have thought that I would have been through a lot of deaths already, and I have, throughout my life too. But sometimes when one just hit, like it didn't even really sink in yet, Ninja. You know what I mean? I don't know if you've gone through
Sure.
something like that, but it just hasn't sunk in yet.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's a little bit tough. Have you ever had something like that? Maybe something in your family you might have lost somebody, and it just hasn't sunk in yet.
Pretty much all anytime someone close to me passes away, it always takes me a while to really wrap my head around. Like just this year, I've gone to two funerals. One for a friend, from middle school actually. Um, she was actually my brother's age, and
Mm.
yeah, don't still don't really know what happened to her. Like no one's really talking about it. But I went to her funeral, and the other one was for one of my high school teachers. One of the high school teachers that we used to hang out that a couple of us used to hang out with. Me, Steve, and a couple of people, and he passed away recently. So
Was
yeah,
that
it's
your
always one of
space
those
tech
kinds.
teacher?
Yep, yep,
Oh
yep.
no way, Mr.
Mr.
Baldock?
Baldock. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No
Mhm.
way, dude.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so
Mm.
anytime something like that happens, it's just one of those kind of things where you're kind of like, how do it's just you don't really know how to wrap your head around, and until you actually go to the funeral and you see a body and you're kind of like, oh well, okay, I guess this is legit. uh, this is actually a thing that's happened, right? Like you could look at Facebook, you could look at text and stuff like that, but it doesn't really hit you until you actually go through the process, I feel. So yeah, especially for my buddy. Yeah, knew her since like middle school. And so she's our age, and
Mm.
and we're already burying her, and it's just one of those kinds of things where you just don't expect.
I was gonna say how what was it? Was it somebody I knew? Then did they went to Shepherd?
Possibly. They were 2 years younger than us. They were my brother's age, so
Mm.
maybe.
Mm.
But if you didn't really hang out with a lot of those people, then
The younger
maybe.
crowd.
Yeah, yeah, slightly
Hey
younger.
Kimberly, ¿cómo está? Thank you so much, Kimberly. Welcome to Kumu. Thank you for the follow. I'm gonna follow you back, Kimberly. Taga saan ba kayo, Kimberly? Let me know. I was gonna say too, although I found out about a classmate that we had. I'm not sure if you. I think you got to remember this dude. You played football with him actually.
Mm,
I was talking to a mutual friend of ours, Dion. Shout out to my boy Dion
yeah, yeah.
out there, and he was saying that our mutual friend, a guy that I had a lot of classes with throughout my 4 years in high school. Do you remember Bobby Valenzuela? Is it Bobby?
I do. I wasn't particularly close, but
Well,
I
I
mean,
bel
yeah.
he lost his life. He passed away last year, and I think it might have been like something like a heart attack or something like that. I'm not too
Mm,
sure, but that rocked me.
yeah,
This
yeah.
is somebody
Hmm.
that I would joke around with,
Yeah.
and it's funny. I I used to just love. I don't know about you, but I would have a classmate that oh man, that's my boy. What's up, man? I'm gonna sit next to you, even though we
Yeah.
don't hang out outside
Outside
of
of
class.
class. Yeah.
Outside of class, that's my boy because we were in so
Yeah.
many classes together, whatever it is.
Sure.
And one of my best memories of Bobby, man, Bobby, rest in peace, man. But I hope you remember this. We drew. Hi, Tiff. How are you? Shout out to my girl Tiff. Um, Man, shout out to my boy Bobby. There was this one time we were drawing notes back and forth to each other.
Mm.
And Ninja, I think I might have told this story already, but I was drawing stuff, and mind you, I'm young, so I'm not everything that I'm saying right now is very bad, and I'm embarrassed about it. But
Yeah.
I was drawing nasty pictures.
Sure. Of
I was
course.
drawing nasty pictures in on a piece of paper, and I'd give it back to Bobby. He'd laugh. He'd add his little captions, saying a whole bunch of stuff. He's drawing nasty. So we're just laughing, and all of a sudden the teacher puts her hand, like, give me this, and I was like, I can't give this to you. I can't give this to you. And it
Yeah.
wasn't Ninja. It wasn't because I was embarrassed. Of course, I was embarrassed of the pictures, right?
Sure. Of course.
But we were talking about the teacher.
Oh, that is pretty awkward.
That's really awkward. So she's
Yeah.
like, if you don't give me this, you're gonna get suspended. And I was like, I'll take my suspension. Because there was no way I could walk back into this class without feeling some type of way of,
Right.
and this teacher, her husband also teaches,
Yeah.
there too. And I didn't have any classes with him, but my ex at the time, or my girlfriend at the time, whatever, she did. So I was like, dude, I cannot. And I remember on the way to the office, Ninja, because it also has Bobby stuff. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
has his stuff
Right.
too.
Right.
So I
Right.
remember tearing the hell out of that and be like, dude, I don't have it no more. And I took my 1 day suspension or whatever it was. But
Yeah.
that was just a memory of mine, of me and Bobby, reciting dog pound lyrics to each other, and just certain things you remember. And I do remember he was on the team. I don't know if he got a lot of playing time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and no disrespect to you, Bobby. I don't know if you got a lot of playing time, but there were times that I would see him. I'm like, all right, you got in the game, or you didn't, or whatever it is. You know
Sure.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was always proud because I went to all the games too. You know what I mean? So I was always proud though that my boy Bobby, who sometimes he'd get picked on and clowned, by certain cats and all that stuff. He was a tough dude. He was a stand-up dude. So shout
Yeah.
out to my man Bobby, and rest in peace. But yeah, when I heard that Waldo, I started thinking about our mortality
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
how young I'd like to think we're young. You know what I mean? I'd like to think you were young, but
I mean, relatively speaking, we still
we've seen some,
are, I guess.
yes, but we've also seen some shit. We've been through some shit,
Yeah.
as a society and all that stuff. And I started thinking about, I was like, dang, when I was a kid though, you would hear about 40-year-olds passing away and how tragic it was that they went so young and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So I kind of started, especially with all the stuff that's happening in my family and like that. I
Mhm.
started thinking about my mortality and stuff. I don't know if that's something you think about, Waldo. Is that something that
I do.
crosses your
I
mind?
mean, yeah, of course.
Mm.
I mean, I ride a motorcycle, so every single
Yep.
time I ride a motorcycle, that is definitely something that is on my mind. Um, and the world's not getting safer. There's a lot of
Mm.
stuff going on out there. I know that crime rates are falling, but or have started dipping down, but still, there might be other things going on. Nancy Pelosi just went to Taiwan, maybe sparking World War III. We have monkeypox. COVID is still around. All the climate change is happening. There's just so many things that
Mhm.
are going on that This is so awkward. Yeah. Okay. Alone. So alone. This is my life now. This empty beach here by myself. Nothing else around me. Anyways, what was I talking about? I like how it's dealing with loss on the caption, and I'm by myself. Isn't that the worst thing that could happen? Is being alone. Oh, I can't hear you. Hmm. No. Maybe. Oh,
Now?
yes.
Now?
Yeah. There it is. Yeah. I can hear you. Yeah.
Wait, hold on. What about now?
Yep.
You can hear me now? Okay.
I can still hear you. Yeah. Uh huh.
I don't know what happened. I think I don't know why it just ended like that. But
Yeah, that was weird.
well, I hope hold on. You don't have to click on this ninja, but I'm just gonna reshare this in our thing just in case you can't get on.
Okay. I
Share
hope
screen.
that that 2 minutes of me monologuing was
Counted.
interesting. Yeah.
There we go.
I mean, anyways, what were you talking about? Oh yeah, like we were just talking about our own mortality and
Yes.
how there's all these things going on, and yeah, you do start thinking about it a little bit more, especially when people your age starts to pass away for whatever reason, you know.
It's a trip too. Whenever again somebody young, you know what I mean? What up, Motion? How are you, brother? We're just talking about our mortality and stuff like that. Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's
something light to talk about on a Friday night, Saturday afternoon, you
yeah.
know.
What up, Motion? How are you? Also, I am back in the Bay too, so I'm giving myself a little mini celebration that I'm back in the Bay. You know what I mean? Motion here. You know, he rocks a 5'10" in his screen handle. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? So, almost. I'm good. I'm in Hawaii. Oh, he's in Hawaii right now.
Oh shit. Okay.
Ninja, would you like to be in Hawaii right now?
Yeah. According to my background, that's where I am.
Is that? Well, he got on the fake
I don't
background,
know.
but motion out there for real, for real, for real. So I
Yeah.
hope you're doing good out there, motion. And I know in Hawaii, it's how do you say it's early, right? It's
Yeah.
early.
It's like 3 hours behind or 5 hours
Yes.
behind or some
Oh,
shit
but
like
he's
that. Yeah.
working though, and he's saying not all fun, not all fun, Ninja.
Uh, yeah. Yeah.
Ninja, how do you like that? You got to go somewhere for work, yet you can't even enjoy the surroundings. Have you ever had to do something like that for work before?
Not for work. No. Uh, my job thankfully doesn't usually need me to go anywhere. Like right now I'm at home working,
Mm.
so I don't have to actually be anywhere specific. So no.
Yeah, Motion is saying it's about 7 p.m. there right now. Well, shout out to you, Motion. I hope you get to enjoy a little bit. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of your time away from home and stuff. Paid trip to Hawaii though. He said can't complain. Yeah, I can't complain with that either. I would not be complaining about that.
No, I wouldn't complain about it, but yeah, I've never had the opportunity for something like that. Some of my other coworkers do when I was at Disney, they had to travel for work.
Mm.
Or one of the things that one of the some of the guys got to do was they got to go to, I believe, the Rogue One premiere when in LA. So they did a red carpet thing. I think it was for Rogue One. I don't remember. So a couple of people got to do that. But yeah, in terms of like actually flying out somewhere and actually having to do work, no, not really.
Have you ever had a job where you had to leave the building and drive around? Like for me, I worked at a warehouse at one time, so I got to drive around a Ram 1500. You know what I mean? And I thought it was like the best job, just because I'm like, hey, I'm not at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm
and you're not in the office. Or
yeah, not
like
in the
that.
office or on the road. Yeah. So, have you ever experienced anything?
No. My early years, it was all like retail jobs, and then I got into gaming, and that's pretty much all of the jobs that I ever had to do. I mean, I guess I've taken odd jobs here and there. Like I've done roof work before.
There you go.
I've helped a friend do some roofing type stuff. So, but in terms of actual like jobs, no, not really.
And we got Jay Jericho in the house. Jay, have you ever had a job where you had to either drive around, you're out and about, you're not in the office, or have you ever had to go somewhere because of work? Like I had to fly out somewhere. We got Motion Sickness in the house, and he's in Hawaii right now, but he's in Hawaii because of work. What up, Press Play? How are you? Press Play, I heard I'm going to see you too. I heard you're going to be in the Bay Area. You know what I mean? So shout out to you, Press Play.
Work.
Your stash is glorious. Thank you. I made sure. No one's rocking mustaches right now. You know what I mean? He's saying my mustache is glorious. So thank you so much. All right, Jay, have you ever had a job where you had to leave? You had to go somewhere?
I mean, if you count this, so the current company I work for right now is called Rico USA. They deal with mostly printers, but they've also they're also offering office services, like just like clerical work and stuff like that, or like IT or mailroom stuff. So before I got stuck permanently at the account that I'm at right now, I used to be a FSR. Pretty much, it's called a field support rep. So I would go to different locations. So the only time that I actually travel would be, like, let's say I'm at one account, right? And then something happens to another account where they need extra coverage. So sometimes they'll call me, and I'd have to leave the site I'm actually at and go to a different location. So there'll be times where I'd have to do that.
Did you enjoy that part of the job, having to go from locale to locale?
I mean, it depends on how much closer it gets me to home, which is great sometimes. So, there'll be times where I'm in, like, I'd have to cover, for instance, this is an example, like I had to cover EA at one point. I was helping out the mailroom, and then they called me over and said they were having issues where someone had to leave sick at a Sunnyvale account, and I'd have to drive there. So it kind of benefited me because I got to get get home closer to work, like get home closer instead of driving
Yeah, from
although
Woodwood
no,
City. Yeah.
like an hour and a half at 5:30
Yeah.
in the afternoon. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
versus
Motion
like
does have a question here. Does it make the day go by faster for you when you have to do things like that?
that depends on the site. If it's like super slow, then it's going to be a long day.
Mm.
If it's like super busy, sometimes an 8-hour shift might feel like a 3-hour day. So it just depends on how busy you get. That's like typical of any job. Like if it gets super busy and time's flying by, you're not looking at the clock. Like one time will be 10 o'clock, and then the next thing you know it's already 3 o'clock, and it's like 2 hours to leave. So
Well,
there'll
for
be
me,
days like that.
I would say for me, sometimes when I was working in Sacramento, I would have to drive almost from where I was staying at to like 30 minutes away. So this guy would make me drive everywhere because we're picking up supplies, and also I would have to go pick up comic books from a certain place. So it would kind of tire me out. You know what I mean? All that driving. You know what I mean? So I guess depending on the job, it either does. Motion was saying you get to count the travel for your time as well. Some places do. You know what I mean? I love it also when a work certain companies, they have, say, company cars or trucks that you can use.
Mhm.
So you get to be in a whip that's not yours. That's always fun. You know what I mean? Almost kind of scary too. Like, hey, this ain't really my vehicle. You know what I mean? But shout out to Motion, who's hanging out with us too. I seen you in your Joe Montana jersey too, dog. You know what I mean, on Facebook. So I love the fact that you're rocking the Joe jersey. You know what I mean? Always got to show love to Joe Cool. You know what I mean? So shout out to you, Motion. Shout out also to Press Play. I don't know, Press Play still here, giving me props on my mustache, and I believe I am going to be seeing him when he comes to the Bay Area. I believe for Pistahan Festival, which is next weekend. I am there representing Kumu USA. I'm going to be in a panel, so I get to talk about my career here on Kumu. And I believe Leon also is hosting some panels too. And we do have a vendor booth out there too. So if you guys happen to be watching us right now, come see us at Pistahan Festival next weekend. You know what I mean? So shout out to you guys out there if you guys happen to be hearing this right now. Earlier, though, I believe Jason was at Crunchyroll, correct?
I was. I tried to stream.
So tell it, and you already know that it's hard to stream. Kumu's hard to stream when you're out and about. It's a battery killer.
Yeah,
and all that stuff. So tell us a little bit about Crunchyroll, Jason.
It was more of the signal. I don't know if it was being like weird and slow. Yeah, because my app was running super slow. So, but I tried to get on there for like 5 minutes. We got there for 6. So I mean, I tried.
Oh, Motion, let me know when you in the Bay again, dog.
Yeah.
He's saying right here, awesome, great seeing you. Hope to see you soon when I get back. Man, Motion, thank you so much for coming through. Please watch, if you're still at work or whatever. You can actually see Motion Sickness in my brand new video. Ain't About That Boo High. That was filmed in LA. That's when I seen, Motion out there too. You know what I mean? So shout out to Motion Sickness out there. But yeah, go ahead and give us a recap of the Crunchyroll.
So I mean,
and how many weirdos and freaks did you see out and about today?
Oh, it's every con you go to, you're always going to see something.
Yo, sidebar real quick, Ninja. When did Crunchyroll start?
Today.
Oh, it was today. But Ninja, yesterday I saw two wizards on the street, and I'm just like, what the hell is going on? And I didn't know if they were coming back or Ninja. Now nowadays people like to cosplay just because. So they'd be out and about. You guys ever see that?
No,
these people
not really.
You know what I'm talking about, Jason? Like these people cosplay and they're like at 7-Eleven and there's There's nothing going on. Like last week, me and Liana saw like 3 people at the Target in God, the mall that I'm near, right? And yeah, they were. I was like, why are these guys dressed like wizards? There's no con going on a Tuesday morning. You know what I mean? And they was out there. What's up, Adequate? This motherfucker is a Ronald Sara. Shout out to my man DJ Adequate. I got to meet him for the first time. Came to my baptism. You know what I mean? A very guapo. I'm not gonna lie, too, Adequate. I thought you was gonna be a short ass dude. This motherfucker tall.
He's super guapo, bro.
Super guapo. He had the bottoms on too. So as soon as I looked at his face, I was staring at his beautiful teeth. I was just like, oh, I want some. I used to have bottoms before, but I was just like, oh, see, people from the Bay, really from the Bay. You know what I mean? They're gonna rock that gold teeth, gold fronts at church, because that's the time to flex. You know what I'm saying? Not as guapo as y'all. Nah, come on, man. You was out there looking super guapo. So shout out to DJ Adequate. I hope I get to spend more time with you in the future. I was gonna say, I don't know if you're gonna be at Pistahan Festival next weekend, but I'm definitely gonna be out there. I'm working a panel. Liana's also hosting a panel. We have our vendor booth there too. You know what I mean? So I hope to see you, Adequate. We're gonna be in your neck of the woods next weekend. So, all right, Jason, how many freaks did you see today? How many weirdos did you see today?
I mean, I can't. The biggest weirdo I saw was SM Rumor. He was actually there.
He was there because I believe his kids are anime fans.
Yes,
correct?
they are.
They love the anime, right?
Uh-huh.
So was Steve dressed up as an anime character today?
Yeah, he was dressed up as himself, a dad.
Ew, scary.
But he did want me to tell you guys and everybody out there what's up. Yeah, he's getting his rest on for tomorrow. So
do your own show. Tell him that. Do your own show.
Do your own show.
Really, right?
But
Right, so
I could say recap wise, it's really different from 2019. They're utilizing every space in the upper concourse and the lower concourse as well. So
where was it?
Yeah, let us know.
It was in downtown San Jose at the San Jose Convention Center.
The convention center.
Yeah, at the convention center. So yeah, they opened up everything. They even have one section for video games, like arcade, straight up arcade from Japan.
Beautiful.
They have the main hall for vendors and artists. It's pretty sick. I mean, from what I saw in 2019 until today, it was big. It was really big. They filled it up. On the far left, they pretty much built their own concert hall.
Okay.
Which I've never seen before. So it's pretty cool.
Like, so you got to hear a bunch of bad music.
Well, I mean, each to their own, you know what I'm saying? I can't judge.
If you like anime, if you like anime music, and J-pop, press 1.
J-pop.
What's up, Hades? How are you?
They're all cover bands, right? They're not like...
No, they're actual bands.
Are they? Are they actually
that we know?
No. It's like bands in Japan. But like they actually so what animes do now is they get bands to perform intro music for their anime.
Yeah. I mean, they've done that.
Yeah,
they've been doing
quite a long time. But it's just like they're getting all these like J-pop stars that we don't know of, but it's like they're very popular in Japan. So yeah, it's going to be interesting tomorrow. There's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, it's crazy because I tried to get into a panel. I got there like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so I tried to get into a panel. I started at 2:45. I got there at 2:30, and it's a small room. They didn't realize how popular this panel was going to be. But yeah, it was pretty sick. I actually got in. but
All right, what panel
Yeah.
was this that you
uh,
were dying to get into
I could tell
so
you
I
right
could
now.
judge you?
Yeah, you can judge me all you want.
I don't know. You might not have the context to judge him.
Yeah. Well,
You
as soon
might.
as he tells me the topic, I'll be like,
It's all right.
ah.
No, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. Let me see if I could find it. It was called.
Wasn't there a Crunchyroll Expo like not that long ago, or was that the LA one?
That's probably LA, the Anime Expo. That's
Oh,
the
was it
big one.
Anime Expo?
Yeah. So it was the
okay.
Anime Expo
On
for
Yeah.
Joff. So the title of the panel was called "The Art of Japanese Vegetable Carving with Anime Figures."
Totally judging you. What? Why
Yeah,
are you
man.
so interested in
Why is that one so
vegetables?
popular?
Yeah. Why is
So
What anime featured that?
So it's a Japanese chef that's been in the business for 20 plus years.
Oh.
So and he's studied and worked in France. So what he does is he
Wow.
has his own sushi shop, and then
Hey.
from time to time he'll hide anime figures in your food.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he'll carve it like he made a Hello Kitty out of carrots and daikon radish.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
Okay.
I mean, it is pretty cool. I just don't know if I feel like I'm eating
No, it
food,
was-
like a little Nezuko pops up and I'll be like, why is
It was packed. It was that panel was packed. It was.
No,
I've never seen it.
I believe it. All I'm saying is I don't want to be eating my Toro sashimi and then all of a sudden freaking
Yeah.
see like
Ninja Hattori pops up. Huh.
Yeah, I mean,
Shinji from Ava pops out of nowhere. Eren
he-
Yeager pops out of nowhere.
Oh wait, do I have a picture of that? Let me see if I can show
Violently
you
attacks
guys.
you.
This is I want to show you a picture I took within that
Of
panel.
Eren Yeager.
Well, kinda. Let me see if
See,
I
I'm
can find it.
I'm into nerdy stuff, but that stuff right there, I'd be like, come on, Jason.
Like
Even though he'd want to go in,
don't
like,
know if you
oh,
could-
let's go watch this panel, dude.
I don't know if you could see that, but
No, we don't
It's,
see
not
that.
really.
I
It's
see a
a
white
little washed
screen.
out.
Damn.
Yeah, it's all washed out.
it's too bright. I wish I could show you guys, but
Uh,
it's like he made an X-wing out of a carrot. He turned Obi-Wan into I guess from looks like a root vegetable, and then he made Luke.
Is this supposed to be eaten?
Yeah, you could eat it. He was just displaying it. He was just showing the stuff that he made. He made a Death Star out of a lime and a lemon.
Oh.
Hey man, it's pretty
Oh.
cool. I'm just saying.
So instead of valuable shopping time, right? Because that's what we all need in a con. You're like,
Oh.
fuck it, I need to go see this.
I'm
Beautiful
trying not to
panel.
spend, man. It's crazy because I
Oh,
walked
so
the
you're
entire floor.
So you'd rather watch the panels. You're one of those kind of nerds.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, tomorrow's gonna be different. It's gonna be a different story. I mean, today I haven't seen a Friday crowd like this probably since we had WonderCon here in San Francisco.
Hmm.
That's a long time. It was busy, like a lot busy than I normally thought it would be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
I'm
Where I
just
thought
thinking
everybody would be
about-
at work.
Well, I'll save that take for after the recap. But I was gonna say, I think when it comes to cons, though, I'm always worried about my valuable hunting time or
Yeah.
trying to see everything. But you're now of the, hey, let me go check out what they're talking about over here, or let me check out this person here. Although very nerdy, of course, that's what you do at a con and stuff. So.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm not saying I walked around. I walked around, and there is a lot of things that I'd want to buy, like a lot. Like I got super
Are they
scared.
anime related?
Half of it.
Hmm.
Most of it clothing.
oh,
There are some-
yeah,
No, there are some
Uh,
badass bomber jackets.
I mean, yeah, but for me, I would probably skip the clothing just because I have so much stuff right
Yeah.
now. I have so many T-shirts and whatnot that it's just I couldn't, I wouldn't be able to.
And not only that, Waldo, but you're thinking about. I'm pretty sure they're not cheap. Especially if
Yeah,
it's merchandise relating to anime.
if it's
No.
licensed, yeah. I mean, you're probably looking at like for a T-shirt $30, something like that.
Yeah.
If that,
Something.
right? If that.
Yeah,
Too.
for a T-shirt, yeah.
All right. So
What
so
else
you
did I
saw
see?
that panel, Jason, and what else did you see?
I walked the. I mean, that's the only panel I got to see because the ones that I missed were like early in the morning. But I was getting my car serviced, so I couldn't get to that. But other than that, I mean, I walked around. I saw a lot of stuff. I did see a booth, or I did see a vendor with retro gaming. I just didn't get to go to that because I was just looking for a chair to sit down. Um, yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I saw Lego sets that I've never seen before, or just discontinued and retired. Um, yeah, I've a lot of pop figures. Man, I I was mostly looking at art, and you know, I could easily spend $100 on art.
All right. Did you buy anything today?
I did actually.
What was your
I
haul today?
I didn't buy too much. It wasn't for me. It was for I bought two things. One for Joe Boss, and one for my cousin Marjorie. It's a Hello Kitty fig pin.
Mm.
So I got that. That's all I got.
Right. What are you on the hunt for these are you going to the next 2 days?
I'll be there tomorrow. Of course, SM Boomer will be there again with his family. His
What
kids
up,
will be
Bologna?
cosplaying.
Musta? Hi, how are you?
Let's see. Well, yeah, I'll be there with Joe. Will be with me, and her niece will be with us too. This is her niece's first convention ever. So,
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
How exciting.
And I am assuming this is going to be more crazier than tomorrow, for sure.
Are you on the hunt for anything?
Yeah, just I mean Lego sets I don't have yet, maybe, and then if anything just pops into my mind. I'm trying to buy art, but not really. We'll see. I'm trying not to spend too much.
Ninja, whenever Crunchyroll comes along or the Anime Expo, I don't even know if they call it that anymore. I think they used to have a show like that back in the day, right?
No, it's in LA.
It's in LA, yeah. Fanime is the one that was used.
Fanime, right? Yeah, there you go, Fanime. But whenever I think about all the freaks that come out, and I'm not necessarily talking about the freaks that cosplay because everybody cosplays. I'm talking about the real freaks. You know what I mean? I'm talking about the ones that after hours, after they can't wait till the con is done, so they can link up and have dirty sex, dirty group sex with their other anime fans and lovers. You know what I'm saying? So I bet you this Friday night, after a little, I don't know what they drink. I was about to say sake. I don't know if they drink, but I think kids nowadays they probably don't need anything to inebriate to get themselves down because we all know that it's a very horny culture. Yeah. It's a very horny culture. It's out there like that. So I just can't. I mean, I wonder how many hotel rooms have people with wigs doing it, or people dressed like wizards, or getting down. You know what I mean? Those are the things that run through my head when I think of the convention being in town. I maybe I don't know. I don't know if people that cosplay Marvel they might be doing the same thing. Who knows, right? It's very possible too.
Probably. I
Right?
have to imagine that they would be. Yes.
right? Like, oh,
Yeah.
dude, I'll be Hulk tonight, and I'm gonna go bang Electra, you know. But like tonight, it's I'm Ninja Hattori, and I'm gonna go visit somebody. Oh, they're dressed up like somebody from Bleach or something like that.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. You know what I mean? So that's what I think of whenever these uh, conventions come into town. And I also think about all the because I've never been to a strictly anime convention, but I'm one of those guys that I love looking at the adult stuff. You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's those are the vendors that I want to see. Like, oh, dude, let me go see some of this stuff. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I
Sure.
don't know. I don't know about you guys, but Ninja, have you been to a Fanime or a Crunchyroll back in the day?
So I've never been to Crunchyroll, but I've been to Fanime and I've been to Anime Expo.
Mm.
Uh,
And what were
yeah,
your experiences?
my first Fanime was back in like the 90s somewhere when they were first starting up. I've told this story before, I think. I don't know if I've ever told it here, but it was back in the day. They used to be at a community college at Foothill College.
Mm.
Fanime Expo was um, so yeah, it was very small. The dealer room was like the student union of Foothill College.
Mm.
Uh, Classrooms were like the viewing rooms for like shows and whatnot.
Oh no shit, that's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. And so when we went, me and my brother and a buddy of mine,
What up, Greg?
we volunteered to help vendors. You know, just kind
Nice.
of like help them out, be security. You know, talk to people, sell things, take money. You know, things like that. And so at the end of it, you know, the guy that I helped out, that actually me and my brother helped out. He gave us some stuff, gave us some DVDs, some music CDs, you know, whatever we wanted actually, like up to a certain amount of money. But he gave us some stuff for volunteering, so it was actually pretty fun. After that, it was just mainly like I mainly go to like watch anime, see what's out there, you know, what they're playing, like things that I've not heard of, you know, especially
Mm.
back then, right?
Mm.
The internet wasn't as big back in the day. I mean, we're talking like 90s, 2000s, right, early, and so I didn't have a chance to really find things back then. So I went to these. So that's how I found
Thank
like
you, Grub.
anime, you know.
Crazy. Come on, Grub. You tripping? Grub's dropping a whole bunch of gifts right now. Shout out to my man Grub Life. Hope you're doing well. You know what I'm saying? This dude is just dropping. Thank you so much, Grub. I appreciate you, brother. I'll see he topped up. He topped. He goes, yo, let me give Ron a
Hmm.
supply drop of diamonds real quick. Thank you, Grub. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much, man. We're just talking about Jason went to go watch. Jason went to go to Crunchyroll Anime Con out here in San Jose, kind of giving a recap of it. I was talking about how I think about all the freaks that love to have sex dressed up like characters from Bleach and One Punch Man. I don't know. They could be doing that. Ninja was just talking about volunteering for an anime con back in the day. So,
Yeah.
um, I was gonna ask you though, Ninja, are you still very much into the culture of anime? You still watch? You know what
I
I'm
mean, I watch, but I don't do cons. I generally
saying?
don't
Shut
do
up,
cons
Grub.
anymore, though. Mhm.
Grub is making fun of my mustache. You know, not too many Pinoys be rocking the mustache, so I had to make sure that I have my pervert mustache on. You know what I mean? Shout out to all my perverts out there. Shout out to, you know what I mean? Shout out to all
Yeah.
my deviants too. This is a deviant mustache right here. You know what I mean? This is a I eat pussy and ass mustache. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Sorry about
Yes.
that. But Ninja, are you yeah, are you still in the anime culture?
Again, yeah, I still watch, but I don't really like go to cons and stuff anymore.
Hmm.
I don't want to say I'm a gatekeeper or anything like that because
Hell yeah.
I don't actually stop anybody from doing anything that they enjoy. But
But
the fact that these things are so popular now, it kind of turns me off from it. You know,
ah
from going to the cons. You
yes.
know, like, I don't mind talking about it. I don't mind chit chatting with people about it. But going to the cons with so many people, because there's so many people, that I just don't want to be in a crowd with like hundreds of thousands of people. The last time I went to an anime expo, it was like record breaking, right? And I'm pretty sure every year since then, there's been more and more people going to anime expo. And I don't want to be in a crowd like that. So, and the fact that, yeah, I can get a little gatekeepy, in my brain. I don't actually say anything to anybody. I'm not going to be like to some kid going, "Oh, you like Demon Hunter? Okay, cool, whatever, dude. Let me go turn to my like, let me go watch my anime," and it's like some shit from the '80s. It's like, no, I'm not gonna.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that, but it's and I'm glad it's getting more popular. But I like my fandom to stay with me, the way I enjoy it, and I don't want it filtered through other people necessarily. Like, I don't really get angry. I just know what I like, so, and I don't really need to know how. I don't really need to know that people don't know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about like Trigun or Escaflowne or Ranma 1/2, Like, I can go into some super deep cuts, and it's like, okay,
That's all our shit though, right there. That's our era of like
Yeah.
the Ranmas, and I just thought about one of my favorites back in the day was something like, say, Crying Freeman.
Sure.
And I just love that stuff, right? And
Yeah.
I don't think they care about that stuff nowadays. They don't care
mean, it's
about
old.
Ninja Scroll when Ninja Scroll
Yeah.
was like the ultimate like fucking movie of like, oh dude, you gotta have that in your
Yeah.
in your VHS collection. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You gotta
Yeah.
have that. So
I mean, like, yeah, that stuff is old. What are they watching now? They're watching their Demon Hunters, My Hero Academia, stuff like that, which I enjoy as well. But it's
my
but
whole
after
thing is,
like,
you know what nerdy argument I really don't like right now, when they think One Punch Man can beat up absolutely anybody from any genre. You know what I'm saying? That's who I hate. They're like, oh, One Punch Man can, man. You know what I mean? So, but I was gonna say,
honestly, he probably can, but that's the point of the character, is that he's supposed to be OP. It's a satire, and I think that's the thing that people miss, is that it's supposed to be satirical, It's supposed to be a comedy. It's not supposed to be serious. You're not supposed to have like a legit argument with whether or not Saitama could beat Goku. I mean, obviously Saitama can, but that's that's the point of the character. The point of the character is that it's supposed to be stupid.
I was gonna say, Jason, what is some new anime that you enjoy?
Oh, new stuff. I mean,
You watching
Ninja's
or current. I guess.
Ninja said it before. Spy X Family, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Sells at work.
Yep.
Of course, Shokugeki no Soma. That's Food Wars. Pretty. I like even like food anime is pretty cool too. Like I prefer Goblin Slayer over Demon Slayer. But most of the time it's kind of funny because people tell me like, "Oh, I watched this and this." I'm like, "Watch Golden Boy." So and they go, "What's Golden Boy?" It's like, yeah, it's an anime they made in like the mid '90s. Go check that out.
Yeah.
So it's just things like that. So like they even, which was crazy. So the Crunchyroll booth was selling a 4K version of Akira for $25. I was like, that's hella cheap. So when I got to the booth,
great price.
it was sold out.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got there like at 1:30 and it was already sold out. I was like,
it was probably
damn.
gone by 11.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm pretty sure. I was like, dude, $25 for a Blu-ray 4K, disc, and it's already sold out. I'm like, damn, that's crazy.
That makes sense.
And
Why would it not be?
What a
Yeah.
great price, though, dude! If you were
Yeah.
able to cop,
Mhm.
what a great.
And that's an anime we grew up watching, and and
Yep.
it's.
Yep.
I should have asked the guy. I was like, "Hey, are they gonna have some more tomorrow?"
Yeah.
I didn't get to
Might want
ask.
to go early.
Yeah,
Might want to go early tomorrow to check.
but yeah, that was one of the surprising things to me. Was like, damn, that's already sold out.
Again,
Mhm.
one of the greatest films of all time. I won't even
Yeah.
say animes, but even one of the greatest films of all time, too. It's funny. I had came across. I think it was a 1 6 figure of Canada, and it was going for $30. And I believe it's a bootleg, but it just
Oh.
looks so fucking dope, right? And I hit up my friend and I was like, "Hey, they're asking 30 for this. Is this?" Even though I probably knew it was decent for a 1 6 figure, he's like, "Bro," he's like, "You better buy that, and I'll buy it off you," And he was like, "I'll buy it off you for 40." But I was just like, he was just like, "Dude, if you don't get that, I'm gonna get it," And I was like, "Go get it, dude. Go. Here's the info and all that stuff." And it's just so amazing how it's either us, people our age, that's keeping a movie like that alive, and we still geek out over it,
Yeah.
But I'd like to think, I don't even think, who knows if the young guys would want to see or even care about something like that, Because I remember the first time, you remember seeing it like in 86, 87, 88, like, holy shit, this is something I've never seen before, And
Yeah.
for a lot of
Yeah.
people, that might have been their gateway into
Mhm.
anime and stuff, right? So, like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy how the genre is just so big now. Kind of like in comic books, right? Like
Mhm.
when Ninja was talking about gatekeeping with the comic books, I kind of feel that way too sometimes with certain things, especially with some Marvel stuff. And then we got all these, new nerds. They've only been
Mhm.
nerds like the last, however many years. It's like, dude, we've been nerds since we were like 5 years old, 6 years
Yeah.
old. So
I
when
feel like we've talked. I feel like we've talked about this before, but it's
have we
kind of
talked
like the whole.
Hmm.
I think yeah, because it sounds familiar in that it feels. So I remember we used to talk about how back in the day we used to, when we were nerds, we would not. It was not open, right? It was not out in the open. We wouldn't flex our fandoms the way people do now, right? Like you don't talk about what comics you don't talk about comic books, you don't talk about video games, you don't talk about anime, because it wasn't cool. What was cool back in the day, basketball, hip hop, you know,
Mhm.
like what's a cool movie that you watch, those are the cool stuff, We don't talk about, oh shit, dude, did you catch that new X-Men issue? We don't really talk about that. Or, during like middle school, high school, I don't really talk about, oh, I just watched the new episode of like, Vampire Hunter, Vampire Hunter D or some shit like
Okay.
that, or the new movie, sorry, or whatever it was, and so it's very much something that we would hide, or not hide, but we just don't really talk about it. It wasn't as accepted. People wouldn't understand when we talk about what happened with like Jean Grey and Scott Summers. Oh, they got married. Oh shit.
It would probably be a one-on-one conversation away from class or something.
Right. Yeah, it'd be outside of class while we're walking to like McDonald's or something, you know. But yeah, these are things that we wouldn't talk about. Star Wars was another thing that a lot of people didn't really get into, Like anything that's nerdy, anything kind of like fantasy, sci-fi, anime, just those kinds of things.
What up, Brad?
It wasn't as accepted. So the fact that it's so out in the open and so big and so like, everyone's fine with it nowadays. It kind of makes me feel like, why did I have to, why was I kind of put in that corner, that kind of thing.
Thank you, Ryan.
So I think that's kind of why I feel a little gatekeepery. I mean, I don't really give a shit. Again, like I said before, I don't really care that people are into what they're into, but it is just weird that people are now going like, holy shit, dude, Walking Dead's such a great show. And I'm like, yeah, I guess it's good. Or The Boys, when people talk about The Boys and how good The Boys show is, I'm like, But you didn't read
Everyone
the
and
book.
their mom's been watching me to wanted me to watch it. They're like, "Oh, you're a nerd. You would like this," and I'm like, I was like, "Yes," and I haven't seen an episode yet. And they're like, "Oh, but you would
Yeah,
love it. This and that, yada yada." And I'm
yeah,
like, I kind of know the source material. I know who the writer is, who's one of my faves, and all that
yeah,
stuff. It's just, I don't know. I don't want to see satire about a genre I love right now. You know what I mean?
sure,
And they're
yeah.
like, "Oh, well, you gotta. It beats anything Marvel. It beats anything DC." I'm like, does it really? You know what I mean? I'd rather watch.
It does because obviously it's new, right?
Correct.
It's the new hotness. Like maybe people are starting to get tired of DC and Marvel, and that's why people are
Mhm.
like looking for something different, right? But because we've been reading the stuff for a long time, and I've read The Boys. I've never finished it. I'm almost done with it. Like literally, I'm almost done with the whole thing. But then I got tired of it and I stopped. I don't need that. I've already gone through that phase of like, oh yeah, let me read Garth Ennis and how much he hates superheroes. Let me read up on that. Okay, I'm good. I don't need more of that. I don't need more deconstruction. I've gone through my Garth Ennis, Mark Miller phase.
You know what's crazy though?
I think
The
that's what
folks
people are
that
going through now.
the folks that tell me to watch The Boys aren't hardcore comic book fans too. That's been telling me to
No,
watch it.
and but that's the thing, right? Like because of the switch to these mediums, it's more acceptable now to say that you're a Marvel fan. It's like, oh yeah, I love the Marvel stuff. It's like, oh cool, who's your favorite character? And it'll always be like an Iron Man or Thor or some shit like that. And then when you go, oh, I really like blah 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 blah, and it's like, oh, what comic is that from? And it's like, oh, I've never heard of that person. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. I'm talking about the comics, and you're talking about the movies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I mean, not as much anymore. Obviously, like even small characters are getting like their
What
shine,
up,
right?
cutie?
Like everyone's getting their shine on now. I can't just be like, oh yeah, my favorite character is She-Hulk. It's like, well, She-Hulk's getting her own show. Oh, I love Ms. Marvel. Oh, Ms. Marvel also got her show. Hawkeye's so good. Yeah, Hawkeye got his own show, and he was in the movies. So like all these tiny characters when we were growing up, maybe not tiny, but all these different characters that weren't super popular are
Mm-hmm.
getting their shows now. So it's great to see. Like I'm super excited for all these shows coming out. I'm excited for all the new material, all the TV shows that are out there, and opening up these worlds to all the different to all the new viewers and new audiences and all that kind of stuff. I love it. It's great. I just don't want to deal with them.
Let me ask you guys a question. I'll start off with Jason. How strong is your fandom for all things nerdy? Is it stronger than it's ever been, or have you kind of cut down? Are you getting more and more into things again? I guess. What's your level of nerdism right now, Jason?
It's still the same. Hard to
Because in my
believe.
opinion, I think you've gone pretty hard with the anime. Sorry, I think you've gone pretty hard with the anime stuff these last couple of years. Like you've really gotten into that.
Well, no, not necessarily. I just never talked about it.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, like, I've been watching anime since,
Since you were a
you
kid.
know, since I was a kid.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I just never talked about it. And now that they have platforms to where I could actually watch, certain animes where I don't have to watch it on VHS no more. I could just go online and watch what I used to watch.
The
So
fact
it's
that you
just,
don't have to wait for someone to fan
yeah,
dub it, and then mail the VHS tape to you.
Yeah.
That's how we
exactly.
used to get her. That's how we
Yeah.
used to get her anime.
So
But
it's simple.
I miss those days of tape trading, Ninja. I love tape trading from back in the day.
Sure, but the convenience factor now is
Exactly. It's more of the, just like what you said, it's more of the convenience factor of having it, whether it's on your laptop, on your PC, or even on your phone. So it's like it's very handy. It can be taken anywhere, and
What up, Damien?
you could watch it from either your room, the bathroom, on a plane, on a car ride. Like, it's everywhere. So I mean, it's just the convenience and easiness of getting what you need to watch or what you used to watch, like when you were kids, when you were in high school. Because it's like for me, it's just like I bought the complete set of you know Evangelion on DVD, the complete box set, and I still have that very first original box set on DVD, and
Probably worth
that cost me like 90. I think it was like 90 or $100 from Fry's
at the
Electronics.
time.
Yeah, at the time.
I bet you
So-
that's a $200 or $300 set now, dude. I bet you it's up there too.
And it's just, and I got hooked on that when they used to show it uh, on PBS when they had anime nights on Sunday. That's how like if I couldn't get the tape, that's how I would watch my anime Sunday nights from 10 to 12 at midnight. Like I that's pretty much the time I really enjoyed watching anime. It was just like I'm in my room, it's hella late at night, I just get to watch this, and I don't care how late it gets, I just need to finish it. That's how I became a fan of Tenchi Muyo. What else? They also played Galaxy Express 999, or just things like that. And now it's just like so much easier to get a hold of online, and you can just watch it that way instead of looking for the VHS, looking for the DVD within your storage unit. So it's just so much easier to get a hold of. And Crunchyroll being a streaming service company, and now that they're monopolizing like on Funimation, and Sony pretty much owns both now, and everything's being merged into Crunchyroll, and being able to have every access to, well, pretty much almost access to certain anime shows, depending on some certain studios will have certain rights where you can't even watch it on there, and you'd have to go either buy their stuff or stream it from their services. So it's just more convenient now, and you could watch whatever that you can, or what you used to watch, or watch new stuff. So I can say it like this, it's like being a sports fan, right? Like Warrior fans now, it's just like they became fans because probably when the We Believe era, or when Steph came in. Like I can't hate on that, because it's like we've been through the hard stuff. Like they didn't have to go through that, but having fans, it's fine. Like I could care less. It's like if you're a fan of a certain team because of this player, then fine. Like like for you, Ron, like you became an OKC fan because of KD and Russ. So I mean, it's
before the hate.
Yeah, before the hate. like legit,
because they were good players.
Yeah,
they were fucking amazing. Yeah, they were amazing. Yeah, and everyone I think was on the LeBron shit during that time too, Jason. So I was like, oh, I don't watch LeBron. That was during the lockout when like Kevin was just playing every summer game that was being played in America. He was just on every court.
Yeah.
So I loved watching OKC. But yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So and it's like like the way I became a Knicks fan is because I loved Patrick Ewing and the way he played. Right. I became like even though certain times I hate Houston, but I love Houston because of Hakeem Olajuwon. Because I love centers. I love the way how centers played. Like even now, like I could say that, I wish Arvydas Sabonis came into the league when he was younger, because that's what Nikola Jokic looks like right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's
he
hella
was
crazy.
Ahead of his time. Yeah.
And
very much.
What's crazy is like I love the way I love the way how Jokic plays. It's amazing. His footwork is great. He passes like he does everything.
There's a reason why he was a MVP. You know
2
what I
years
mean?
in a
There's
row.
2
And
years in a row.
you
Correct.
can't hate that because this guy does
Nope.
everything.
Yep.
He can shoot, he could rebound, he could pass, he could play defense if he has to. I mean, he does it all. And there are things where you have to respect certain players where they can do as much as possible. Like, I'll even admit I hate Kobe, but I respect him as a player, and he does great things on the court, right? I mean, just me being a Bay Area
Same.
fan, you always hate the
Same.
Lakers, yeah. But I love Kobe's game because he attacks like people say he's not a great defender, dude. He will if he wanted to, he will lock you down
Yep.
if he wanted to. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and you can't come and the way
I never said
Yeah.
the way I was hating on him though, Jason. I never said because we have ignorant basketball fans.
Yeah.
I never said he sucked.
No,
You know what I mean? I would never have said that Kobe sucked. It's just like, nah, I don't fuck with the Lakers. And I don't fuck
exactly, because
with Kobe. Yeah.
we're up here and they're down
Yep.
there.
Yep.
If you understand that rivalry, then it's NorCal versus SoCal when it comes to sports. Like,
Bay stay with the Bay
yeah,
all day.
like I hate the Rams, but dude, Aaron Donald's a badass. I'll admit that he is a badass. That guy is like anybody would like to have him on his team. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Debo. I'm pretty sure that anybody in LA would trade for fucking Debo to be on their fucking team. The way he plays, Debo and Cooper Kupp on the same team, that'd be hella crazy, right? You got one guy playing slot, you got one receiver bulldozing everybody. So I mean, vice versa. I'd love to have Cooper Kupp on the Niners too. I mean, but I hate him because he's on the LA. He's playing for the Rams. So I mean, it's the same thing. So it's just like anime with the way anime was for us back then, the way for anime is now. Same thing with comic books. Back then, comic book movies and books, comic book movies and everything is just, more out in the open. It's just because, people aren't afraid to show their nerdisms. Back then, we had to hide it. Now it's just out in the open. Like no one gives a crap. And, it's just something our generation has to deal with as far as because we had to hide. Like I never talked about my fandom for anime.
I think hide might be a strong word. It's more like not many people were into it. That there's not a whole lot of people that I could talk to about it. Like comic books. I had a small group of friends who we were all into comics, but outside of that circle, no one was into comics. And anime when I was growing up, it was me, and maybe like 2 other people, besides my brother. And that was it. Everyone else had no idea what the fuck I was talking about, so I would never talk about it. And we just talk about sports, and that's fine because I can talk about sports too. And, but now it's like, I can probably like throw a rock and talk to somebody about like, the latest episode of Spy X Family,
I was going to ask you though, Ninja, the same question I gave to Jason. Has your nerdisms or fandom for things, has it grown as you gotten older, or are you kind of like shutting it down of like, I don't really care about certain things no more?
I'm not shutting it down, but I've kind of refined what I enjoy and what I am not really into is really what it is. It's not really
You're not consuming everything that's out there.
Right. Like even anime for a few years, I didn't watch anything because I didn't feel like there was anything that was worth. So like I want to say early 2000s, like none of the anime caught my eye, because after coming off of Cowboy Bebop, Trigun, Outlaw Star, Record of Lotus War, those kinds of animes, these iconic anime, Samurai Champloo.
Crazy to think how old that stuff is now too, right?
Rurouni Kenshin,
Yeah.
These are the things that were basically genre defining, not to mention the stuff before, your Dragon Ball Z's, your Bubblegum Crisis, your
one of my favorites, right there.
Your Gundams, Ranmas, these are the things that I grew up watching. Yep. And then after that, there was really nothing to fill that void of just, for me, iconic anime. I mean, there's One Piece, but for me, One Piece is more like it's one of those shows where for me it's one of those shows that you can just watch, but you're not. But for me, it's not like holy shit, dude, this is amazing. This is what anime is. When you watch like a Cowboy Bebop, it's like, yo, this is what the heights of anime can
Hi,
be.
Shiro.
You know,
What up,
this is what greatness looks like. And One Piece is, oh, this is what a good anime looks like. Or Naruto's, oh, that's a good anime, you know? But there was nothing in between that would catch my attention like that. So for a very long time, for a few years, honestly, I didn't really watch much anime. Comic books, I was kind of the same way. Like growing up, I read a lot of Marvel, a lot of DC stuff, and then I kind of just fell away and just read a lot of like.
Thank you, Shiro. Salamat. Go ahead.
I read a lot of like indie stuff, Image stuff, DC Vertigo. You know, as I got older, my taste kind of changed in terms of like, you know, what I was reading. You know, and so for a long time, I didn't read anything from Marvel. I didn't read from Marvel proper. I didn't read anything from DC proper. And then after a while, I would just catch something here and there, and I would just start reading things again. And I think somewhere around 2010, I started going back to the big two. You know, so I go through weird phases when it comes to comics and anime and stuff like that. Like, I tend to not just catch whatever I can catch. You know. These days, I'll look at something, and if I enjoy it, I'll watch it. I'll give it a couple episodes. If I don't like it, I'll drop it. I'll go something else. You know, and that's kind of how I am nowadays. I'm just refining myself a little bit more. Like I know what I like. You know, and if it starts to get like annoying, then I'll just stop. You know, I'll probably never watch like an Ava ever again. Like I love Ava, but holy shit, dude, Shinji is such a terrible main character for me.
Mm-hmm.
That after to me that it kind of scarred me from like any other animes that are like that. Attack on Titan, I'll never watch it because after watching the first like 4 or 5 episodes, I'm like, oh my god, Eren Yeager's fucking a Shinji character, and I'm just like, fuck this guy. That I just don't want to watch Attack on Titan because this dude is basically Shinji, you know. It's like so yeah, I'm more of a slice of life kind of guy now. I still watch shonen stuff. You know, like I said, My Hero Academia is really fun. I watch a little bit of Black Clover. You know, so I do like the shonen stuff, but I do love slice of life anime. You know, so right now I'm watching one called Super Cub. It's about a couple of high school girls who learn to ride a moped. A scooter, Super Cub moped, Honda Cub moped. That's what they do, and that's what I'm watching right now.
Well, I was gonna say when it comes to me and anime, right? Anime. You know, a lot of the things that Ninja had talked about earlier, those old titles, I loved. I mean, I grew up on things like Bubblegum Crisis,
Macross Plus,
Dominion Tank Police. If we're talking about books that we would read. You know, certain things. What's that? Not Nausicaa Valley Winds.
Yeah,
what was that book?
sure. Yeah.
You know, like so. That's the stuff that I grew up on that, and I loved. And seeing something like, you know, we mentioned one of the greatest films of all time, Akira, earlier too. I was one of those guys that, hey, nothing's gonna beat that. You know, this is all like so dope, drawn by hand. I don't care if it's CG. You're not beating. You know, something that they did in 85, 86, you know? So like I became really, really, I guess precise in my anime viewing. I didn't, even though I would draw, I mean, I used to love drawing back in the day and stuff. Even though I would draw those crazy big-eyed anime characters, I was more into the realistic stylings of like a Go-Go 13. Or a Crying Freeman. Like I love stuff like that. Even when it comes to my my hentai porn or whatever. Like if they don't look real, you know what I'm saying? I'm not jerking off to an anime with big eyes. You know what I mean? But if they look somewhat real, like okay, I could watch that all day long. That's no problem. Shout out to things like Black Bible. You know what I mean? And
Sure.
all those wrong ass shows, they're great, right? The art's just amazing, right? But I think what kind of killed it for me was when things like Princess Mononoke that stuff started coming out, and how it was just like top that then. You know what I mean? Top that. And
Mhm.
after that, maybe like try to top Ponyo. I dare you. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So like when you were talking earlier about how you got into other comic books too. Like I think in the early 2000s, that's when I was straying away from Marvel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was probably reading more image type titles or
Mhm.
whatever than I was reading Marvel. And I think something
Yeah.
like Civil War, I've talked about this before, but Civil War, the first Civil War is what got me back into reading Marvel and all that stuff. So kind of like you, Ninja, I've refined also. You know, like I probably don't read as much DC as I'd like to nowadays. The
Mhm.
last thing I read was the Three Jokers, which was excellent, by the way. I don't know if you guys had read that story, but I try to keep my stuff really like it's almost as if not to say my nerdum or my nerdisms have lessened, but I've really cut a lot of stuff out, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even when it comes to say something nerdy like wrestling, I still love wrestling. I will always look at wrestling news and all that stuff. But am I
Mhm.
watching show per show, things like that? No, you know. So I've
Yeah.
kind of cut down on that. Even though I am trying to go, I think September 19th, Jason, is a Monday Night Raw in San Jose. I believe I'm going to try and go to that right there. But that's what I mean by like, even though I might not watch the product, I'll probably go. You know what I mean? Just to see and support, you know, because truly a fan of what they do. But am I on it like how I was maybe 5 years ago? Absolutely not. You know, so it's kind of, you know, and the reason why I brought this up is, Jason, before you got on, we were talking about our mortality a little bit, you know, and I was trying to think of what things what things do I still enjoy and have fun as I'm getting older. You know, before it used to be, you know, the things that I'm still into, but maybe not as much. Like, man, if you were to ask me like hella years ago, I need to get every single action figure that's in a 3 3/4 scale. You know, so I don't have that luxury nowadays. What's up, Superman? Kumusta? I remember you, Superman. How are you? Kumusta? We're just talking about tungkol sa mga nerdisms namin, sa mga nerdy geeky stuff namin. So again, I think I've redefined and refined the things that I'm into. Like, I became an old man. Like, you know, all of a sudden I'm over here hunting Hot Wheels, you know, and I told myself I would never be that Hot Wheels guy, hunting Hot Wheels like at 7 in the morning. Yet I am. I'm that guy
Mhm.
now. You know what I
You're
mean?
that guy. Yep.
I'm that guy now, you know, or um, I've really like kind of going back to the anime thing of, you know, I don't want to watch anything unless it looks realistic, you know, something like
Mhm.
that. I think maybe the last thing I might have watched, it, I know it's kind of an older one, but that Tiger Mask W, you know what I mean? Like I'm really into uh, puro puro reso is what they call it in Japan, pro wrestling in Japan. So when I was like, oh shit, they have a brand new Tiger Mask. You know, I want to see it. They got current wrestlers, you know, that you could watch on AEW on the show, like Kenny Omega. He's in that anime and stuff like that. So I always found that okay, that's very cool right there, you know. But you know, haven't got into. I remember one time when I was wearing my meat suit, they're like, "Oh, you're an Attack on Titan fan because you're dressed as a." I'm like, "No, it's just this is a skinless suit." You know what I mean? So when I finally got to check it out, I was like, all right. And I forget what the joke was like. Oh man, y'all woke up some robots that should have never even been woken up in the fucking first place. You know what I'm saying? Like, I kind of get it. You know, but yeah, even when it comes to things like DC Comics or whatever, I've really kind of quelled it down to where when I do get into something or read something, I do have fun with it, and I'll probably try and kill it right away. I don't know if you guys read the that House of X stuff. Um,
Yeah, I'm working through it right now.
Man, I haven't read anything in a while, Waldo, and I think that is one
Yeah.
of the greatest X-Men stories that it kind of it messed me up. Like, oh wow, everything we kind of grew up on, they
Yeah.
kind of threw it back in your face and is like, no, this is what's really going on. So that's what got me excited to read
Mm.
something again. Although to be fair, I should be buying the book, from Amazon or somewhere, and really, and indulging it in that way. Can't afford
Yeah.
that stuff right now, so I'm just reading comics online. But the
Mhm.
fact that I think I'm on the fourth part, almost done with it. I'm glad that I invested a little bit of time into something that I love because again, I don't have time. I am a dad again. You know what I mean? I have other things that I'm trying to either get off the ground or I got to focus on myself. So it seems like a little bit of my nerddom kind of goes away. But I always reconnect it when I'm with you guys, whenever we're talking about certain things. I'm always reconnected with that. So, yeah, that was just something I wanted to talk to you guys about. Thank you guys for joining. This is Ron, Sarah, Ninja Iceberg, Jay Jericho. This is the Hub 408, episode 154. Jason, what do you think about that? 154 episodes of the longest running episodic Kumu show podcast. What do you think about that, dude? Episode 154, dude.
No one caught us yet.
No.
Not yet.
No, what's that? Carte Blanche, right? I think
Carte Blanche. Yeah.
yeah, I think we're under that. You know what I mean? So
Oh,
they
man.
let us cook on here. They let us cook on here. So
So if we reach 200, what do we get?
nothing.
Damn, that sucks. Not
I
even
know.
a visit. Not even a visit from the other rumor.
I don't look for recognition nowadays.
I know.
I've learned to not. I don't need that. Shout
It's
out to
hella
him.
funny.
He's busy right now. I get it.
He's
You're
a busy
busy.
man.
Yeah, but he knows what I do on here. You know what I mean? So shout out to that's my boss, forever my boss. So thank you for giving me an opportunity to do what I do. And because of that, it led me to I'll be doing a panel next week. Representing Kumu. I get to talk about my career here on Kumu and all that fun stuff. So I'm pretty excited to do that. And I wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't for the homie James. So shout out to James, another nerdy guy.
Oh yeah.
Not
What do you
really. Yeah, there's some things he's nerdy about, but not too.
Not too much.
Nah, see, he's one of those like, oh, if it has to do with space, I don't want to watch it. So I don't think he's ever watched Guardians of the Galaxy. He's never watched like Eternals. He doesn't care for that stuff too. But he also said that he's oh, I'm not watching Punisher. I don't got time for that right now. So I'm like, dang fool, you can't even no love for Frank. You know what I mean? So anyway, shout out to the other rumor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Shout out also to the better rumor, Steve, who Jason saw at Crunchyroll today. You know what I mean? Looking like a real old ass dad. You know what I mean? Out there. Shout out to him. You know what I mean? But again, this is episode 154 of the
What?
Hub 408.
What his kids like to call him, the wallet.
That's a good character right there. You know what I mean? Good character.
Yeah.
If you could dress up as an anime character going to Crunchyroll, Ninja, what would you dress up as?
Parn from Lotus Wars.
Okay, what about you, Jason?
SM rumor.
A real one.
So
Would you?
way of the house husband, basically.
Yeah. No, oh, that's a hard question. That's a question. Damn.
Yeah, there's a lot of characters. I just picked one that popped in my head.
Probably
Okay.
Roy Fokker.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's a great one. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful pick. I was going to say, for me, guys, I would go as, and if we're talking about some really nerdy shit, I fell into a wormhole the other day. So I would
Okay.
dress up, and you guys probably don't know the Filipino character or the anime character of it, but I'd probably have to go with Spaceman Scheider. You know what I mean? Who in the American version was VR Troopers. You know,
Oh shit.
so the thing is, I love things like Bioman and Scheider. Those, and to my Filipinos out there, you guys know exactly, if you happen to be my age, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. When I would go to the Philippines, the shows that I would watch with my cousins was Space Sheriff Scheider and Bioman. And Bioman is the precursor to Power Rangers. So you know how Power Rangers had the whole dinosaur motif going on?
Yeah.
In the first incarnation, they didn't even have that. It was just the colors. So you would get red one, yellow two, black three. You know, you would get those guys. So one of my first toys actually was a die-cast Bioman figure. So I was one of those guys that when Power Rangers came over here, I was like, dude, that's it's fucking Bioman. What are you guys going crazy over? You know, I was one of those kind of fans, and I was like, I'm never watching this because I know what it is. You know what I mean? So when they turned it into a whole bunch of kids, high school
Yeah.
kids, and all that stuff, I was like, what? Wait a second. They were adults, you know, like the version I knew, they were adults. So it's kind of cool
Yeah.
how, just like what Jason said, we can go online and we can watch these episodes, you know, again. So I fell into a wormhole of that genre. I forget what the name of the
Yeah.
genre is, but it's
Sentai. Sentai.
right. So there you go.
Yeah.
I fell into a wormhole, and I'm like, wow, this has been going on a long time, a long
Yeah.
time, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And
Your Ultramans and your
Mhm.
Guyvers and whatnot. Yeah.
Yep.
Cayman
So
Rider. Yeah.
Kamen Rider, yep. So like
Mhm.
to then read about, I think the company was called Saban. Remember that Saban?
That was
Um,
the American version.
the American
I don't
version.
remember. Yeah, I don't remember what the Japanese company
Well,
was.
they basically bought all these episodes and were like, oh, we're just going to
Mhm.
add our American actors to it and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So kind of
Yeah.
going back and watching some of the old stuff, and even watching how I think it might have been whatever version of VR Troop, you know, Scheider was in the Philippines. Um, I remember my cousins back then having a crush on the Japanese love interest in Scheider. They're like, oh, she's so fine and all that stuff, you know. So I grew up like hearing that stuff. So like, um, you know, going back and finding out, oh man, these guys didn't even have enough episodes. That's why like certain episodes went this way or whatever it
Mm.
is. So it's kind of cool to see stuff like that. Um, when I delved into more and more stuff, I found out that uh, Space Sheriff Scheider, which is the blue one from VR Troopers, he actually influenced the look of RoboCop, the RoboCop that we knew.
Mm.
Uh, you know, so it's kind of cool how certain things that we might have grown up on is like, you know, there's little connections, just like RoboCop. You know, like they probably saw that Japanese stuff and was like, yo, that would be a great design to knock off, you know, even if it's just a helmet and stuff like that. So I would definitely come as something like that, or I would come as a. See, I'm really bad with my kaiju guys, but whoever was in Godzilla, who's the lion? You know who I'm talking about? The lion character. Man, well,
No, I didn't. I don't remember that.
there was a lion character in there. There was also a robot character in some of those movies, but there was a lion character which was my favorite kaiju of all the
Mm.
kaiju's and all that stuff. It was a lion. I remember watching it with my cousin Ryan on. If you didn't have cable, you had channel 26, which was the Asian channel. You know what I mean? So you get to watch all
Yeah.
that stuff on the weekend. You know what I mean? So they would have kung fu on the weekend, but they would also have the Godzilla stuff too. So I would probably come
Mm.
as that, or maybe the Toho version of King Kong. You just always had that
Oh,
weird looking.
okay. All
You
right.
had that weird looking face. You know what I mean? So I'd probably go with something like that if I were to dress up. So again, guys, this is episode 154 of the Hub 408. Thank you guys for joining us. Shout out to Coffee Lover who just joined us. Welcome to Kumu. Although you're not a newbie, you got a level 6 mango. You know what I mean? Which means they've been spending their time on this app. So, kumusta sa inyo? I appreciate you. Shout out also to Odeng Bokin Malik. I hope I said that correctly. Shout out to Power of Paid V5. And also shout out to Elite X Baby, aka Damian Wolf. I don't know if he's still here. I love you. I miss you. My kid is actually in Sacramento right now. You know what I mean? So I get to see him. I get to see him this weekend. Shout out to you guys. Is there anything out there in the world that you guys wanted to bring up? I know there was a whole bunch of nerdy stuff that had happened. I know.
Let's see. What do I want to? I kind of want to. I kind of want to talk about this Alex Jones thing. Did you guys see that?
Jason, did you see that? By the way,
Alex Jones, the Infowars guy.
Are you familiar with Alex Jones?
Kind of familiar. You'd have to explain everything that happened to me.
Okay, no, well, Alex Jones has Infowars, but for the last 20 or something years, he's been talking about conspiracies and all this stuff. But in his later years, he kind of made a turn to more of a conservative side of things, to where he started saying a lot of things were not what it seemed. So what he did was with recently, when the Sandy Hook massacre happened, he was saying it was a hoax. He was saying that they had
crisis
actors and all that stuff. So a lot of families were getting harassed.
A lot of families,
because of the information he was putting out there, to where they sued him for $150 million in damages. So they took him to trial. And Ninja, go ahead and take it away from here.
Well, so they took him to trial, but because he never showed up, he lost on default, right?
Yep.
Like he lost all the lawsuits so far on default, and so right now so it just concluded today, I believe, the what is called the compensation trial part, where they basically talk about how much he's going to pay, how much he's actually going to pay, because the actual trial part just didn't happen. He just said fuck it, YOLO, right? And so now they're bringing in all the information and all this kind of stuff. And so what happened was one of the things that happened this past week was that Alex Jones was supposed to turn over like all his text messages for like the past 2 years, right? Because they were supposed to prove whether or not he knew Sandy Hook was false. You know, I mean, that was the whole thing, is that did he actually know it was false, or did he actually believe or did he believe that, you know, it was a conspiracy, yada yada yada? But obviously he's a grifter, so obviously he knew it was a real thing. But because his audience is dumb as rocks, he kept playing along, saying that this is a false flag and they're going to come for your guns, yada yada yada. Anyways, so this past week there's this bombshell that dropped where the Sandy Hook lawyers apparently received a dump of text from the guy's phone for about 300 gigs worth of information. And here's the crazy thing.
Where'd it come from? Where'd it come from?
The dump came from Alex Jones's lawyer, okay? Because they were
supposedly, right? Accidentally.
Right. So, well, okay, it was supposedly accidental. He sent all this stuff over. The Sandy Hook lawyer was like, hey, I'm going through this stuff, and holy crap, there's 300 gigs worth of information here. This is like a lot of information, you know? It's like, how is it that there's this much information that you're giving us? So we looked through it, and there seems to be a lot of like information here that I don't know if it's confidential or not. He's talking to the lawyer, Alex Jones's lawyer, about this, and Alex Jones's lawyer is like, "Oh, sorry about that. Disregard. Let me send you another link." He just said disregard, right? The problem with saying just disregard is that doesn't mean that the information in there is privileged. You actually have to manually go through all 300 gigs and point out this is privileged, this is not privileged, this is privileged, this is not privileged. So you have to go through a whole thing. You have to go through a whole process of pointing it out that this is privilege, or you have to bring it up with the judge and have them decide whether or not this is privilege or this is not privilege. The guy had 10 days to do that. He didn't do that. He didn't do anything. He just said disregard, and then they just yellowed it, right? And so the Sandy Hook lawyer, when Alex Jones went up to take the stand, the Sandy Hook lawyer just nailed this guy, talking about how maybe you've committed some perjury because you said you didn't have any information on Sandy Hook in your text messages, but you lied to me. And he goes, "Oh, maybe I misspoke." And it's like, well, no, when you said that you looked through your text messages, you did it yourself. You did the search yourself, and you said that you didn't have any Sandy Hook messages.
The look on his face.
Yeah.
Right, Ninja was
right, and then he basically went through all the text messages. He went through like a bunch of text. He went through like this whole spiel. Then he goes, "Do you know where I got it from?" And he's like, "Well, I don't know. I gave it to you. You have it. So I obviously you got it." And he's like, "No, but do you know where I got it from?" And he goes, "What are you talking about?" But basically, and he goes, "Your lawyer accidentally emailed me all your text messages for the past 2 years." And the look on Alex Jones's face, the shock,
oh my God, yes,
the holy fuck, I am fucked. I am absolutely fucked.
They're like, you know what perjury is?
Yeah, he goes, you know what? Exactly. He goes, the Sandy Hook lawyer is like, "Do you know what perjury?" The laugh that he did, he goes, "Ha ha ha ha. Do you know what perjury is, Mr. Jones?" And it's just like, oh my God, this is such good. This is the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial for fucking politics nerds. And honestly, this is more consequential than that bullshit, right? Like this actually has real world consequences because here's the crazier thing. So he lost the trial. Unanimous decision for like not 150 million. I think they capped it out at like 45. It was like 4 million. 45. Yeah. It was 4 million for compensation, but it was 45 million for punitive. Mm-hmm. So he has to give up almost $50 million from this thing. Good. But here's the thing: he's also there's 2 more lawsuits following this one. Mm-hmm. So he's going to have to go through this with 2 more lawsuits with more families. The crazier thing is. That's not even the crazy part, okay? The crazier part,
if I think it is what you're about to say, go ahead.
Is the fact that the January 6th committee has subpoenaed these text messages because they're like, wait, is there anything in there that might link Trump to J6? Because he's been talking about, because Alex Jones has been talking about how he's getting information from Trump and
had him on his show.
Yada. Yeah, all this stuff, right? So they're best buds. So they're like, oh, we need to look at your text messages. The fact that you didn't give them to us, we've been trying to get them from Alex Jones this whole time, but but I guess we can ask the lawyer, the Sandy Hook lawyer, if we can get these text messages, and the Sandy Hook lawyer basically is like, yeah, sure, here you go. So it might actually impact the January 6th committee hearings. I mean, we have no idea what's actually on there. It might not amount to anything, honestly. but the fact that his lawyer was so incompetent, like I'm glad that he was super incompetent,
Mm-hmm.
but the fact that it had to take someone so ridiculous to self-sabotage, it's just, it's sad, but it's just so funny. Like the self-own from Alex Jones is hilarious. It's so good. And I really do hope something comes from those text messages.
I do too. That's been a good trial also, the J6 stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of heads will be rolling, and I love it. I love how certain people are getting in trouble now. But
Yeah.
then again, how do you say this?
Well, getting in trouble, quote unquote.
Correct. But I love seeing certain individuals just like, I'm done for. And what Ninja was talking about, when the person's face, when he finds out, like, man, your own lawyer did you in. He had this one remark to the opposing lawyer, and he said, well, this is your Perry Mason moment here.
Yeah.
And only old ass washed dudes like me and Ninja and Jason will understand who the fuck Perry Mason is, right? But like, almost as to say, like, you got me. What else do you want to hit me with? And it just so.
No, I think at that point he was still in denial. He's like, oh, I guess you got me. This is your Perry Mason moment. Mm-hmm. And he was just kind of like, yeah, well, that's it. Well, yeah, let's move on. And then the fact that he kept hammering him and kept going at him, trying to basically say that you perjured yourself. He was just fucking like on it. He didn't give a fuck at that point. That part was hilarious.
And at one point, where does Alex Jones just shut the fuck up and just chill? You're going through a trial, yet on your show, Jason, what this guy was doing on his show while the trial was going on, he's over here criticizing the judge.
Yeah,
saying,
called her a pedophile. Yeah,
called her a pedophile. She's part of a pedophile ring.
Yep.
And it's like, well, how
that
do you
the
think
jurors
this is going to turn out? Yeah,
calling the jurors dumb blue collars, then they're from a different planet and they don't know anything. It's like, dude, these people are still deciding your fate, and you are on your show. They even played it in the courtroom.
Yeah,
the audio and the video of what he said, and he's like, well, I didn't say anything. He's like, well, here's the video. And they even played that shit in front of him, and he got zero leniency, like that, like whatever they could do, they basically just said, fuck it, dude, we're gonna do whatever we can.
And I love how the judge went in. She was like, this is not your show. This is not for play. Like, we're freaking serious about this, and you're treating this a certain way. So
the whole gum chewing part, he's like, dude, I don't want to look in your mouth. And it's like, dude, is this something that you actually have to say in a court of law? As this dude is chewing gum, he's like, dude, I don't want to look at your mouth. He's like, oh, I've got, like, I'm massaging my gums. I've got bad teeth. That's why I'm chewing my gum. I'm chewing my gum. Look in my mouth. And the judge is like, no, I don't want to look at your mouth. It's just, what are you doing?
I don't know where the change was, but a little bit after 9/11, I came across Alex Jones because that's when I was starting to get into podcasts and just getting all types of information. And the Alex Jones that I had known from back then was actually exposing things. He wanted to expose, hey, these are the people that's running the top. These are the people, yada, yada. And then for some reason, that kind of switched to where it's funny. J. Jonah Jameson's character in the new Spider-Man is actually modeled after Alex Jones, the current Alex Jones.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So there was a certain turn of, where did it go from exposing the government and wanting to, and mind you, even though he was exposing the government and all that stuff, he also had
exposing the government.
He also had the wild conspiracy theories back then, but it was at least tolerable. Like, you could listen to the guy, and something turned.
He's entertaining.
Correct. And it turned to where it's like I can't listen. Like I'm not listening to this. To where it just turned all of a sudden to where he kind of became a conservative guy, kind of like
I think he was always a conservative guy. Like
right.
if
But
you like you read profiles on him, the guy was always pretty conservative. I
I'm
think.
just saying though, even back then though, he wasn't as what he is now. He was
Right.
more going against the government and not having to act like the Alex Jones I would have known in 2001, 2002 probably wouldn't have a conversation with Trump and start fanboying,
Yeah.
to
I think
where he became that,
basically, I'm pretty sure basically what happened was he started making money,
Oh, and
and
that's
he had
exactly
to,
what it is.
and he had to keep up the facade, right? Like he's
Mm-hmm.
like, this is basically how I'm going to start making money, and being a right wing grifter is, I mean honestly, a right wing grifter is probably easier than being a left wing grifter, and people have said this before. Like people that I watch have been saying that, and it's like, no, I think that's fairly true. Like look at your right wing grifters. Look at who they are. They're your Alex Joneses, your Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder. These guys can just say whatever the fuck they want, and people give them money, right? And it's honestly kind of ridiculous. But then who are your left wing grifters? It's really hard to find a good one.
Well, that's
'Cause-
what I'm saying. Back in the day, I thought he was that guy. I thought he leaned a little bit towards more the left
yeah.
than the right, and
Uh-huh.
yeah. So I was actually kind of shocked of like just the turn of him going from, yeah, I want to expose everybody, tell people the truth, to where he was almost had an alliance, what I mean, with certain individuals and stuff like that. Because even back then, he was going at Republicans, he was going at everybody super hard, to where it's like he flipped. And it's kind of
Yeah.
like what Ninja said. It's probably because Infowars not just became a website; it became a channel. He started doing the video stuff
Yeah.
and all that. So yeah, I would see how he would have wanted to make some money off that and piggyback off of that.
And then when you start going into conspiracy theories, you eventually fall down the QAnon rabbit hole, right?
Yeah.
And you fall down that rabbit hole, and then you're just kind of gone at that point. It's
certain conspiracy theories I can fuck with, but then
sure.
you can't believe all conspiracy theories, right?
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
I'd be like, all right, that sounds plausible, but I'm not riding with that. Or like the whole.
I think for a lot of these people, it's the absence of evidence is the evidence, right? Whereas when you say the absence of evidence is not it shouldn't be evidence. If there's no evidence for it, there's no evidence for it. But for these people, the absence of evidence is the evidence, and that's kind of the problem, is that they're always I guess they're trying to make everyone else prove the negative, They're trying to make everybody else prove a negative, and you can't prove a negative. That's not a thing,
I got on my Rocky Rock mustache, by the way. What's up, Rocky? How are you? You feel me? I got on my Rocky Rock mustache.
But yeah, this guy totally got what he deserved. The dude basically made it so that other people's lives, like they couldn't even grieve properly, right? Like the parents,
Yep, could not.
Every time they tried to properly grieve, it's like, oh no, these are fake kids. This kid is not real, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So for like 10 years, because this was in 2012, right, Sandy Hook?
That's crazy. That's crazy
right?
that it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, and nothing happened since. And nothing has happened since. And we've gotten more mass shootings. But yeah, it's been like 10 years and nothing's happened. And these parents basically have been tormented for over 10 years, or for about 10 years, And so, yeah, fuck that guy.
By the way, did Sandy Hook happen around the same time that the Batman shooter?
The Aurora one?
Aurora shooter? Was that around the same time?
Yeah, I think it was the same year. Yeah, I believe so.
He was like the red-haired Joker, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, he had colored hair, and yeah, it was. Yeah, I think it was roughly the same time, same year.
Dang, I just thought about something right now, but I think I shared it with my family, but I wanted to share it with you guys. Hella off topic. But, I was gonna say, what's up to
That
Ronnie
was the
Sanchez? What's up, y'all?
But yeah, that was the big news. The Alex Jones thing was probably the biggest thing. And oh, there's also the Nancy Pelosi thing, but it's like, that's how we might start World War III. Nancy Pelosi going to Taiwan. It's like
Taiwan.
great. Let me just enjoy my shot in front of Alex Jones getting fucked before I get nuked, please. Thank you.
Well, there was a whole bunch of other stuff that was happening too. We can take some real quick takes on it. I was gonna say Ninja had brought this up pre-show, but Batgirl got canceled.
Yeah,
Correct.
WB. Yeah. So
So
Batgirl.
an almost finished project that cost more than 90 million.
Yeah.
And this was also going to be one of the returns for the great Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All of a sudden, they said, "Hey, we're not doing this no more." And I believe 2 days after or a day after, Waldo, all of a sudden DC comes out with, "Hey, Marvel did it correctly. Marvel and Disney did it correctly, and guess what? We have a 10-year we have a 10-year plan to put out." And it's like, dude,
you said that 10 years ago.
You exactly. That's why I'm just like, oh, by the way, DC's catching all these bad breaks. I don't even think the Flash movie is gonna come out no more.
No, it is. It's still on. It's still on
deck.
It's not canceled yet, even though Ezra Miller is on the run. Yeah.
Why the fuck? And first of all, wow, this guy became the new David Koresh, by the way.
Yeah, something like
supposed cult leader, right?
Yeah, in Iceland.
That likes to groom. Dude, he's meeting girls when they're like 14. You know 12. What I mean? 12. Giving them drugs, giving them alcohol, making love to them. You know what I mean?
I don't know about that. I don't know necessarily about that part, but
I read it. I wouldn't have said it if I didn't read it. You know what I'm saying? Although you shouldn't believe everything you read. Yeah. But all I'm saying is like, wow, this dude's still here. All these people wanted fucking who's the white broad in Aquaman? They wanted her out of here. They wanted Amber Heard out of here. And yet y'all rocking with the Flash like this, which is also Batman 1989. Michael Keaton is supposedly in this movie too. Like, damn, y'all ain't gonna, just give me a Batman 1989 movie. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because, I mean, you're going to give us, by the way, I don't know if you guys had know this too. They did the sequel for Joaquin Phoenix. Yep. And he's getting and I believe Lady Gaga will be playing Harley Quinn.
Right? I don't know about that, but she is going to be in the movie.
I believe it was confirmed. I saw some what do you call it? Some promos they did today. Where it says Gaga in big letters with the red background. And it has her silhouette, and then it has her silhouette along with the Joker, and it had the I forget the name. The title's in French, by the way.
Yeah, something du Foley or something like that.
Yeah, they're trying to make it more artistic. So now I'm upset. First of all, I never liked the Flash character from the whole Justice League.
Yeah,
was not a fan of that character, but now it's also going to deprive me of seeing. I might be in the minority of this. One of the best Batmans ever, Michael Keaton. Yeah, I might not see that anymore. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, part of it is also the fact that there's no. Yeah, we want to watch a Batgirl. This was also gonna feature like a major Asian transgendered person.
Yep.
In a supporting role. I believe she's Filipino, so like we all lost a more representation, so I mean that's depressing. But there was also going to be a black Batgirl, so why
which would have tied into what's his name's Commissioner Gordon, right? What's actor's name?
I can't remember his name. I'm drawing a blank on that guy's name, but yeah, it's like
Great actor, by the way.
So why are we canceling Batgirl? Supergirl, I believe, is also being canceled. Who's also being this, and Supergirl, and that is like also like a person of color, you know. But Ezra Miller's Flash is still going.
That's crazy, right?
You canceled two. You canceled two movies that featured women of color in the lead roles, I'll say, and the white person is because Ezra Miller is.
I believe the wording they used
they
was
them.
on. I believe the wording they used, Ninja, was on pause at the moment.
Sure. Okay.
It's like, really, dude?
Okay.
This guy's a fucking creep, and you guys are rocking with this dude, like.
The dude
transgender, non-binary or not, you know, I support all communities, but when you're a fucking scumbag,
no,
I'm not with that. I'm not with that. You know, so
like,
what up happened? To Duffy90? What up to D?
What happened to this guy? I have no idea what happened to this guy.
And what happened to DC? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
it's just like, man, such a shitstorm over there.
Yeah, because of the whole. So HBO and Discovery are getting merged, and you know, there's all kinds of things going on. People are not sure what's going to happen with HBO Max and Discovery, or what did I say? Discovery, right? Discovery Plus. So they're merging that together. No one knows what's going to happen. The new CEO is planning on like dumping DC stuff or dumping a lot of things that was supposed to be the old regime and wanting to put their own stamp on it, and basically causing a lot of chaos. And no one really knows what's going to happen. And people are like up in arms about how like HBO Max right now is probably one of the better streaming services with all their shows, and you know, and if you're gonna cancel HBO, it feels really stupid to do that because there are a lot of shows on there that are very, very popular. And
it's funny, the fandom came into play. I think it might have been yesterday, the day before. They were like, fucking, is Peacemaker gonna be a part of that package deal? And I believe James Gunn had came out either today or yesterday and was like, nope, that's still gonna be
it's still there. Yeah,
will be on HBO. So I think he uses a little Hollywood pull of, you know, like, that ain't going nowhere. You know, we got to stay on here. Probably one of the better properties that they. I mean, I love the whole Peacemaker, Suicide Squad thing. Probably shout out to John Cena. I wasn't really a big Cena fan. I've always respected him. I kind of had a Kobe thing for him too. You know what I mean? But I've always respected him. I love him outside of what he does. You know, outside of the rated G character that he is. You know, so I really love Peacemaker. I thought it was just such a great show, and I was like, oh well, man, if more shows were done in this type of way, you know, I would fuck with it. And I believe HBO Max was just the perfect place to do that type of DC, you know, stuff. I mean, the Watchmen that had came out that not a lot of people saw, but I fucking love that shit. It was such a great thing to be on that platform. So yeah. What up to Roque Coding? ¿Cómo está? What up to Duffy90, Deans? This is a Hub 408, episode 154 of the longest running episodic, nerdiest show here on Kumu. If you happen to be watching us also on YouTube, Twitch. You know what I mean? We appreciate you guys. Here's some nerdy news that just came out. You know, I'll share it. Speaking of my boss, we were talking about the other rumor earlier, but he just hit me up with a message, and he was like, hey, we own Pen Lab now. And if you guys don't know, Pen Lab is they do comic books also for the Philippines. So Kumu has acquired Pen Labs Entertainment. Shout out to them. Shout out to Kumu. And I hit him back with, let me write a book. You know what I mean? Because I believe, shout out to my man, Angelo, Sir Angelo. He, following in the footsteps of Rexy. Shout out to Sir Rexy. If you guys don't know, those are the co-owners of Kumu. Rexy came out with his comic book, Mahal Rika, I believe, and also
Angelo just dropped this comic book, I think a day ago or 2 days ago, called Amboys. So I believe it's about, maybe a little bit of their story in there, but it's about Phil Am's living in the Philippines. So holler at me because I would love to write a book. You know what I mean? I would love to write a book. So shout out to Pen Lab, Inc., where they do a lot of Filipino comics and stuff out there. I know that they did a convention. I think it might have been last week or 2 weeks ago. They had one of the big conventions out there. I saw all kinds of friends that we know, like Sally and all them. Angelo, Rexy, they was out there promoting their book. So shout out to them, man. I appreciate that. I was actually talking to somebody else. Shout out to my good friend DJ, but he told me, he goes, dude, I got the hookup on figures in China. And I was like, oh, like making bootleg? Like, he goes, yeah, dude, I'm really close to the factories. And I was like, dude, let's come up with our own action figure line, And he was like, oh, let me know what you want to do. And I told him, I was like, I want to do, if you guys remember Homies, the little miniatures and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of want to do a hip hop version, or like I want to do Homie, but GI Joe. So imagine, what up, Yagi? Shout out to my man Yagi out there. And if you don't have Yagi on your playlist, go to Spotify right now and get Yagi's new song with Rydeen. But Ninja, I want to come up with. It's not just a Filipino-based action figure, but what if I want to do people that we grew up with?
Yeah.
What if I want to make a Latino dude in Dickies?
Sure. Yeah.
What if I want to make a Lola with slippers, or an Asian dude with a bike that picks up cans?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I just want to do real figures. You know what I mean? So I was thinking about, oh man, what can I do out there? So hey, maybe that might be down the line. Shout out to my man Yagi. He's giving a big shout out also to Ninja and Jay Jericho. We appreciate you, Yagi. Shout out to my man Yagi all the way out there in Germany. I was talking about me and him earlier. We had a great discussion about Germany and and how I was fearful of a country that once tried to go against the world. You know what I mean? Not too long ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they got over it.
Yeah. They've changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've changed. You know what I mean? But he was telling me though, he was like, "Oh, but there's still pockets where they got to quietly say that shit." You know? What I mean?
Yeah, there is. But here's the thing: they teach the history so that people can understand how shitty they were back in the day.
Correct.
Something that we don't do in America, and if we do that, they decry it as critical race theory and say that it's bullshit.
Oh, you shouldn't. You shouldn't.
Yeah. So that's the difference between Germany and America. They actually try to teach the history, whereas America tries to.
And Yagi did say that they
whitewash the history.
Correct. And Yagi was saying like, hey, that stuff is it's looked down upon. Like, even though they know about it, like they don't support the Hitler youth or the Hitler types. You know what I mean? Like, you dare even speak his name? Kind of like also in Cambodia, like with I don't mean to bring up atrocities and bad people, but like, or is it not Cambodia? Is it Pol Pot?
What?
They're in Cambodia.
Yeah, the Khmer Rouge. Yeah.
Yes. Like even though they learn about that stuff, they ain't talking about that because they teach people, or they learn about history the correct way, not like what Ninja said here in America, to where they'll hit the buzzer real quick and be like, you can't. You know what I mean? Can't.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing, right? Like Germany doesn't have any statues to Hitler, right? But we have statues to Confederate generals, Confederate leaders. People who are traitors to this country. We have statues to them, and we call it fucking heritage, not hate.
Now, you guys know I love seeing white people go crazy. I love white people acting white.
Yeah.
I don't mean to say that in that way, but I was looking up, again, Ninja, I was looking up this J6 stuff.
Yeah.
And everything that I'm saying, it's been known and it's true. But dude, they had nooses out there. Can you believe that?
Mm-hmm.
Talking about let's hang Nancy, and they got nooses out there.
Let's hang Mike Pence.
Hang Mike Pence too, yes. But the fact that they brought out nooses, the fact that they brought out bats and weapons and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And these are
Zip
whites.
ties. Yeah.
These are the whites, and they got a lot because again, remember our take from if it wasn't a bunch of white folks, there'd be so much blood on the steps.
Oh yeah.
I think they would have brought the tanks in, quick and bomb the hell out of that if it was brown people marching.
Mm-hmm.
So all I'm saying is, it hurts to see that. Even though I'm not a big Nancy Pelosi fan, I'm not a big Nancy.
No,
not a big Mike Pence fan. You know what I mean? But when you're calling for people's death, when you're calling like AOC, we're coming to kill you and rape you and all that stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, all right.
Yep.
Let's calm it down. So it's crazy to.
Yeah, the one of the writers this past week or last week or something like that. I don't know if you saw this one. He got 7 years for He got 7 years for his involvement.
Treason? Yes.
Yeah, for his involvement, and I don't know if he did too much, but yeah, he got 7 years. And what's funny is that it was his kid that turned him in. It was his kid that turned him in. I don't know if you saw the.
No, did not.
Let me show you. You know what's funny about this kid is that.
All right, Yagi. I'm gonna catch you, Yagi. If I see you streaming later, I'm gonna catch you, dog. Catch you on somebody's.
What's funny? So he was on CNN and he was talking to them about how he felt about basically being the cause of his dad going to jail and how so if you watch the interview, right, the dude's pretty based, honestly. Like it's actually kind of funny, and part of it is probably because he watches the streamer that I watch. Here, let me share it with you. So I watch a political streamer on Twitch, and what's funny is that he actually has a shirt. Let me just share with this guy.
All right, go ahead and take it away, Waldo.
So this guy right here, this shirt right here is actually from a streamer that I watch, and he's a political streamer. Anyways, what's funny is that he has Metal Gear Solid posters behind him. And yeah, this dude's like a
Sons of the Patriot.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean,
one of my favorite covers, by the way, too.
You know what's actually kind of funny is that a buddy of mine pointed it out to me that it's kind of that Metal Gear Solid is kind of about fighting your dad. Yeah. Because he fights. Because he's supposedly fighting
Metal Gear fans. So yeah.
So he's fighting.
Big Boss.
Yeah, he's fighting Big Boss. Yeah, which is basically his dad, and it's kind of like, oh shit, that actually makes sense. And so.
He's Solid Snake.
He's Solid Snake.
Yeah. Okay, I get it.
And yeah,
man,
you can see
the Patriots.
So yeah.
By the way, one of the greatest franchises of all time.
I stopped sharing. But yeah, so that guy got 7 years, and his kid basically turned him in, and the kid is like pretty smart. Like he knows what's up. Like he tried to stop his dad from going in the first place.
Oh wow!
And like his entire family, like his two sisters, I think are kind of like, I don't actually know what his two sisters' politics are, but his mom basically after the verdict came out and said that, they still love Trump. And they still support Trump, and what they did was wrong, what they did to her husband was wrong, and how we still believe in that the election was rigged and blah 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 blah, even though her husband got sent to jail for 7 years. The two daughters basically said that if he goes to jail for 7 years, Trump should be in jail for life. And then the son basically said, yeah, I turned him in because, what the fuck is this shit? And it's like, holy shit, dude, that's fucking wild that his kid turned him in. I was like shocked by that one.
Well, Ninja, I was going to bring up that that's not the first case that I've heard of either a close relative or friend has turned in their friends or their relatives. They're they were there. My cousin was there, right?
No, there was someone who was like, oh, that's my ex-husband, or that's my ex-boyfriend or some shit like that. Yeah, that's him right there. Boom. I'm turning you in. So yeah, no, it's there's a lot of people who looked at that fucking thing and was like, yo, that's ridiculous that you were a part of that whole rioting,
The one thing that I had did not enjoy, but something that was entertaining to watch, although sad, was they had body cam footage from J6 during the trial that no one's yet seen. It wasn't released to the public. And it was a lot of the body cam footage from Capitol Police that day. And I mean, this is an understatement. They got their asses kicked. It didn't matter if they had a gun or a weapon. They were getting charged at no matter what. Like I remember cops holding shields and batons, kind of like the video game view, right? You see the see the arms in front of the screen. They got batons, they got shields. Man, these white boys were just yanking it from them and just running. Yeah. And they would get pushed and just get beaten up in a corner somewhere. And I'm just like, man, these cops really, they got their asses kicked by these white boys.
Yeah. You know what's wild is that, again, it's another one of those examples of where cops, this is the time for you to shine, for you to do police brutality.
Yes.
And you don't.
And you don't.
Like, why is that,
If I was a Capitol policeman on that day, I probably would have attempted to knock out as many people as I could and hurt people, because my life and all these other cops' life is on the line, and the people inside, so
yeah, that's crazy. The excuse that they give for shooting all the time is that I feared for my life. Yep. How did you not fear for your life now? Like, how is that even a thing?
You out of here, Jason?
Yeah.
All righty.
Again, with like, all right, later. Again, with like the Uvalde thing, they could have shot him, and we would have been cool with it. Later, Jason.
Later.
Yeah, and honestly, we would probably have been cool with them shooting that guy, right? But they didn't. Like, the people they're supposed to hurt, the people that they're supposed to shoot, they don't do it. And the people they're not supposed to hurt, they're not supposed to shoot, they do it. And it's so backwards. Like, these January 6th guys, they really could have police brutality them. And I would have been like, ACAB and all that, but I'm okay with this.
Yeah, for this day. I wouldn't have minded that. Yeah.
I would not have bitched about it at all. I would have been like, good. They actually did their job. They actually justified the amount of money that each city gives them,
If I'm a cop being chased up the stairs, isn't that the time to shoot? If you're
you have the high ground, bro.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just like, yeah, you gotta pull that thing out now, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy. Ninja, I was looking at the time. We gave him an extra 20 minutes today.
Yeah.
Probably even longer. So I was gonna say, excuse me. We're probably gonna wrap up this episode in a couple of minutes. I was gonna say, do you got any recos though that you wanted to give for this?
Recos, yeah. Yeah, look, I got a couple. There's been a lot of shows and movies coming out, and I'm going to recommend some right now.
Already.
Paper Girls on
Yep.
Amazon Prime, based off the comic book by Brian K. Vaughan and Cliff Chang.
Mm-hmm.
It's about four girls from 1988, 12-year-old girls who basically get in the middle of a time war between two factions. That's the best way I can explain it. It's just out there. Like, the book is super out there. My only real gripe with the show is that it's not as weird as the book. Like, the book it goes off the rails really fast, and it's fun as hell.
But also getting good reviews with the show. I believe I saw a lot of fans like it. A lot of non-fans were like,
yeah,
oh,
I think a lot of people
show.
enjoy it. Yeah, and I will say that because it's four girls as the main characters, they do talk about things that I personally don't have any like experience with, just because I didn't grow up as a girl, you know, so I can't relate to some of those things. But I think if you're a girl, if you're a woman, and you're looking for a show to watch, Paper Girls is definitely the one I can recommend to you guys. And if you're a dude that just wants to watch a good show, I mean, I enjoyed it personally, and I enjoyed the book as well. Like, it's one of my favorite comic books out there. So I'm going to recommend Paper Girls. I'm also going to recommend Prey. Prey is the new Predator movie that came out on Hulu. It came out this week.
That came out this week?
Yeah, it came out this week.
Woo,
and the
I got something
story
to watch.
is...
Yes.
Oh, dude. So let me tell you.
Okay.
Let me tell you. So this movie is set about 300 years ago, and it's about a young Comanche girl. Comanches, if you don't know, are a tribe of Native Americans. So this is set back in the 1700s, and basically a predator shows up, and she has to basically survive. It's a very simple story. It very much feels like the first Predator, in that you have a group of people who have no idea they're being hunted, and as they realize, oh shit, we're getting fucked over by this alien thing, you know, you kind of see them having to survive. You basically see the hunters become the hunted, right?
Nice.
And that's kind of what the whole story is about, is hunters becoming hunted, becoming hunters, becoming hunted. It's a big cycle, and you can definitely see that throughout this entire movie. The main character, played by Amber Mid Thunder. I mean, that's just a fucking dope ass name, Mid Thunder. Mm-hmm. She was in Legion, so you might recognize her from Legion, the FX TV show. She plays a girl named Naru, and she's basically she wants to be a hunter. So, but you know, she's a woman and she's a girl, so she basically has to do the gathering type stuff. But she also, you know, hunts on her spare time. Like, she's learned how to hunt, and you find out that her older brother is one of the more celebrated hunters in her tribe. So she's basically following in his footsteps, kind of thing. One of the things I really liked about this movie is the fact that she is showed to be very smart in how she like problem solves, right? Like, it's very, like, a lot of the problems that she has to run into, it's very grounded, and her solutions make sense for her character. And the way she levels up throughout the movie also makes sense. Like, she learns one thing about the predator, she takes that, she applies it to the next encounter. She takes another thing that she learns, and she takes, you know, she's very methodical. She's very clever, and she's an amazing fighter, right? It's not like John Wick kind of thing. You know, it's actually it feels more realistic, even though you're fighting a predator, you know? So yeah, that's my thing on it. It's a very simple story, you know, hunter becomes hunted. But the way they executed this movie, it's so good. Like, honestly, if you can, just after we get off here, watch it if you can,
I
or
will.
watch it tomorrow.
I shall.
But it is. I honestly really recommend it. It's not super like fast paced like a John Wick or any kind of action movie these days. It's a lot more slower. It builds the world up. You know, it's very. It takes its time to let you absorb the characters and their world and their community to really get into the space, and I really enjoy that. And when the action starts to hit, when things start to happen, it starts to really like it starts to get there, you know. And so it's I think it's a really good movie, like really really good. So I can't recommend it enough. Um, they also released a Comanche dubbed version, so you can watch the movie in its original English, but you can also watch it in the dubbed Comanche version, which the actors came back to do the dubbing. So it's the same actors doing the voice acting for it. So if you want to watch it in the Comanche language, you can watch it in the Comanche language as well.
That's representation like a motherfucker right there, right? That's
I mean, you're taking but again, very cool movie. Like it's one of the better movies that I've seen this year. Like, and my final recommendation is going to be the Sandman TV show on Netflix that also came out this week.
Which I am gonna start also this weekend. When I saw that, I was just like, "Oh, it's on now."
Yeah. So I mean, okay. Here's the thing: Sandman is honestly one of my favorite comic books series of all time. Right? Like when I recommend people to read comic books, and they're my age, right? And they don't really read comic books, and especially if they think comic books is for kids, I usually recommend to them Preacher, Transmetropolitan, and then and Sandman. Right? Those are the three comics that I recommend to people who'd be like, yo, here's what I recommend for getting you into comics, especially if you're an adult, because those are adult-oriented DC Vertigo comic books, right? And Sandman being like the top echelon of like what greatness looks like, I guess you could say, in terms of like comic book writing. I mean, there's various authors out there, there's various writers, there's a lot of like, there's obviously a lot of stuff to pull from, but Sandman is one of those where it's like iconic. We're talking like Dark Knight Returns, we're talking Watchmen level kind of like iconic. Sandman is one of those genre defining, industry defining works. And to have this be made into a TV show, especially after all these years of saying that it can't be done, yada yada yada. I will say this. It's so far I'm like 4 episodes in, and as an adaptation, it's really good. Like I'm really into it. Like I don't know if I can separate the comic from the show. I know the comic very well. Like I said, it's one of my favorites of all time. I know it very well, and I don't know how it would come across to a non-reader of the book. But for me, knowing the story, knowing where it goes, it actually kind of makes it intensifies for me. Like I know what's going to happen, and they change it enough to make it interesting, but they keep a lot of the big set pieces that were in the comics to so that where it's going to go. But for some reason, even though I know where it's going to go, it's not a spoiler. It's like it makes me feel like for the characters, and I know where they're going to go and how it's going to happen. Excuse me. And that for me makes it worse, but also enhances my viewing experience, right? Like it makes me feel for these characters, and it makes me feel worse for them, right? But it does intensify and heightens my enjoyment of the show for some reason. Like I don't want to see these people get hurt. I mean, they're I'm not a sadist or anything like that, but knowing where it's going to go and knowing that it's going to hit these marks, it makes me really, really like the show so far, and I'm hyping it up. Like Sandman is really good so far. The biggest change, right, that they did, and it's not really a spoiler, but John Constantine was in the original book, in the Sandman book. They actually replaced him with Joanna Constantine, who in the Sandman universe is actually his ancestor from like 300 years ago. So that was kind of a weird change, but there's no real functional difference. The story still hits the same way because he shows up when Morpheus is trying to find his pouch full of sand, right? So John Constantine shows up instead of Joanna Constantine, but the story kind of still stays the same, and it still hits the same. And I sat there and I was just like, "Fuck, this is like, oh my god!" It's very, for me, it was very emotional,
Overwhelming, as a true fan. Yeah,
as a fan of the book, yeah, it was kind of overwhelming to see these little things that happen, that I remember from the story. So I recommend it. I think it's really, really good. It's very dark, which is the Sandman. But for people out there who don't know what it is, it's about the King of Dreams. He is the personification of dreams and nightmares. And basically, it talks about how even though this guy is not a human being, he's a personification of an abstract concept. It kind of goes through his story of him being kind of petty and human and flawed. That's kind of what Sandman is about. It's about these superhuman beings, these super beings. They're not even human; they're super beings. Supernatural beings who are insanely flawed and petty, and they carry a grudge, but they also love and feel emotions that you would think only mortals could feel. So it's one of those kinds of things where it kind of is a reflection of humanity through watching it through the lens of like these people called the Endless, and so that's what that's about. It sounds a little hokey, maybe it sounds a little cheesy, but if you're interested, I totally recommend people out there to watch it. It's really, really good, and like I said, it's one of my favorite comic books being made into live action, and it's one of those that I never thought would ever get made. Now, if they ever make
that's crazy.
It's wild. And if they ever make a Transmetropolitan TV show, then I'll be happy. Like there's a Preacher TV show. Now there's a Sandman TV show. And if they ever make a Transmetropolitan TV show, I'll be like,
I bet you will go down that route. It'll most likely go down that route.
It probably will, especially since it's very relevant. Like that shit came out in 2000, 22 years ago, roughly. And the messages in Transmetropolitan is still insanely relevant today.
Yep.
It's kind of like Rage Against the Machine. Rage Against the Machine came out 30 plus years ago, and their messages are still insanely relevant today. Sadly enough, So they might bring something like that in. I mean, like look at The Boys, right? Like The Boys is kind of like relevant today, and so I feel like if they're gonna start bringing in things in that is relevant today, I think Transmet would be one of those that they should look into doing. So maybe one of these days, who knows? Those are my recommendations.
I was going to say, just to piggyback off of, well, not piggyback, but just a comment off of the Sandman. I love also how Neil Gaiman is out here fighting the trolls. You know what I mean? He said, he goes, it may seem petty, may seem like I'm squashing ants, but I love my product so much that I'm out here defending the actors, which I love, so he out here with it. Just like what you said, this is a book that I would have never imagined even being made, Death is also one of my favorite Vertigo characters. So the chance to get to see her in so weird the chance to get to see Death in the Flesh on my screen, I think is kind of wild.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's pretty awesome. So, I will take your recommendation though for Prey. That's
Yeah,
something
it's
that
good. It's good.
that
I don't want to overhype it, but
but
I
just the one trailer
thoroughly
sold me though. Even just the
yeah
initial when I was just like, no, where are they going
yeah
here?
yeah
Because I've always loved you know, we could all see aliens, but I want to see how people in 18 whatever
yeah
will
yeah.
react to something like that, you know, where
Mhm.
it's not hokey, where this
Yeah.
is some serious stuff. So again,
I
great
think
recommendations right there.
I think you'll enjoy how I think you'll enjoy the main character. Honestly, her and her dog. Like the dog is the other main character, which is actually kind of cool. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really really good, and I cannot recommend it high enough. I don't want to overhype it, but like I said, I think it's really good.
All right, well there you
And
go.
it really feels like the original Predator. It has that same kind of feel to it. Very small, very very like in the woods and man against nature, man against beast, that kind of thing. It's very cool. Yeah.
If you guys are just joining us again, the recommendations that Ninja had was Prey, which is on Hulu right now.
Yeah. Paper Girls on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess you could say it's a prequel. It's a
Right,
standalone
kind of.
storyline.
Yeah, standalone. Yeah.
Standalone storyline. But yeah, Prey on Hulu, Paper Girls on Amazon Prime, and Sandman on Netflix.
There you go, guys.
So yeah, there it is. Those are my recos.
I know that there's been a lot of hype around Joe Coy's Easter Sunday, so go ahead and see Easter Sunday. Haven't seen that yet, but go watch Fabulous Filipino Brothers with Dante Bosco in them. You know, I was going to say a movie that represents, films and even the Bay Area correctly. I would say, you know what I mean. So, shout out to you guys out there. This is episode 154 of the Hub 408 Ninja Iceberg. Ron Sara here with you guys. We gave you guys almost 30-40 minutes of extra. So guess what? It's time for us to go. We will see you guys next week. Pretty much that's it. Any final shout outs out there, Ninja?
Nah, man. Just same old, same old. Stay safe. Stay safe. COVID's still out there, and now we're getting monkeypox.
Fucking monkeypox.
And apparently Legionnaire's disease is out there somewhere as well.
Damn, they won't give us a break. They won't give humanity a break at all. Thank you to the one person out there that kept with us, rocking with us the entire time. That could be watching on Twitch or YouTube. I appreciate you. If you happen to be watching us on Kumu, thank you guys. Thank you to everybody on Kumu that came through and dropped some virtual gifts and showed some love. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys next week. Take care.